Oh, I gotta get rid of the the Roblox text. Hello, hello, hello. Ah. Oh gosh. Okay. Why is everything being weird? We always gotta have some stuff. There we go. And I also need to change the chat back to being the chat that I have over here. What did I call it? I called it that. Okay. Very scuff start, but hello everyone. Where'd it go? There we go. What? Why is it saying chats? No, the fuck it's not. What? Oh, right, I didn't do the thing. Hang on. It wouldn't be me if it wasn't scuffed at least a couple times, I guess. There we go. Okay! Hello! Hi, everyone! Now we're ready. Now we're ready. Hello! How are you guys' morning going? There we go. I wanted to get headbands with my hair on my face. I'm so excited to play this game again. I'm in a really annoying spot with the mic where I'm not sure what to... Oh wait, is the game not capturing the audio? I just noticed that. Hang on. One second. Why have I not got game audio? Can you guys hear the music right now? It's saying there isn't any. Oh my god, we're so scuffed today. Wait, what the fuck? Why the fuck is there no game audio? This game sure is playing music. I can hear it. It's loud as friggin' my ear. It's got its pretty music there. Hello? Game, please? Hello? War. Capture audio, please. What the fuck? What? What? Why is it not? Hang on. I don't know what the fuck is happening with this. One sec. I do not understand why it's not picking up the sound. Hello? Genuinely, what the fuck is going on? It hasn't had this issue before, but I'm good. I'm good. So, for anyone who's asking, I'm doing fine. If not for this, is it here? Why is it my desktop audio? What the fuck is going on? Ah! What? Okay, well, it seems like you guys can hear it when it's on the desktop audio rather than the fucking game capture for whatever reason, so I might just have to bull with that. I don't know why it's doing that. I'll have to figure it out later. But if you can hear the music right now, then that's fine. Just ignore the fact that that's capturing my whole desktop rather than the game. I don't know why it's doing that, but if it works, it works. Oh. But hello, I am very excited to play more Vampire Yuri. I love this game so much. It's so fucking cool. I'm like not even just excited for the lesbians, which I very much am, but also excited for like the story for this game is so fascinating. The writing is so beautiful. It's so atmospheric and gorgeous and gothic. I'm really, really happy. No amount of scuff can kill my hype, so it's okay. You can barely hear me. What the? Oh, now it's playing. What the hell? Huh? What? Okay, sure. It seems like you've got. It seems like you've got audio now, for whatever fucking reason. Okay. Yeah, no. I noticed. I saw you in chat, but like it wasn't that. That's because suddenly the game decided to actually play its audio on OBS at full volume when before it wasn't showing up at all. So I had it really fucking turned down via my like desktop audio. But now suddenly it's working. I don't know why, but I guess it's working. What the fuck? What the fuck? I have no idea what's going on. Genuinely, I'm so fucking confused. I'm so confused. Okay. Right, well, what I was gonna say before we had this whole fucking issue where it wouldn't play audio and then played it really loud, is that annoying thing, with this game is like when this is the same thing that I had with Date with Death. Like when I'm voice acting, I would like to have, the better filter on my mic, like this, because then I sound a lot better, so then when I'm doing like a lower range of my voice, you can hear it a lot clearer. It doesn't all get muffled out and come out shit quality. But then when the like this mic compression is on, then every time that I'm fangirling, I'm like, ah! Then it just like immediately cuts it all off. I don't know, maybe I'll try and just not scream so much. We love a good Emmy scuff. I'm glad you guys do. I don't. But it's okay, it's okay. Let's get into the game. We finally got audio. Let me know if it's ever too loud or too quiet or anything. We've got the game, and everything's okay, and it's fine, and I've got water, and I'm ready. Well, let's load. Whew. Right, yes, so we're back at Henny, because last time, right where we left off was when Henny finally managed to make it back to, Henny finally managed to make it back to Maike's fiance and told him everything, and he was a douchebag and an asshole, and also said she must have imagined it and that Maike is just dead, and then told Henny to go and like rest in his maid quarters at least. Ugh. Let's scream towards their crushes. That's never gonna happen. Listen, well, we'll figure something out. I'm eating lunch already this time. Let's go! You're not gonna forget to eat because you're too busy being gay. Yippee! Henny had been recuperating in Walter Gerhardt's home ever since her frantic escape from Magdalena's abode. She had spent the first week of her stay lying abed in the servants' quarters, unable to conceive of doing anything more strenuous than existing. The horrors she had witnessed during the night of the bandits' attack had left her nigh on insensible, her body dull and leaden. Oh, Henny's so cute. I love her so much. I love this artist. The way they render her is so gorgeous. Look, she's so soft and cute. I love her. Like, genuinely, there's, like... I mean, even though I hate the douchebag, all of the designs in this game are so good. I'm in love with all of these characters. During this week, the local constabulary had arrived to ask Henny questions about all she had witnessed in the forest. Henny had answered as honestly as she could, or at least as honestly as Walter had permitted. Henny had wanted to tell the police about Magdalena and her inhuman strength, but how could she? If Walter had not believed her, it seemed very unlikely that the police would, particularly when Walter had a vested interest in Maike's affairs. Surely, as a bereaved groom-to-be, he should have seized upon any chance to reunite with his fiancée, no matter how implausible the circumstances surrounding said chance seemed. Walter did not seem to care really much about Maike's disappearance, though, or if he did not show it to Henny. His tears, if indeed he had the capacity to cry, were all shed in private, away from prying eyes. In any case, Henny told the police only of the bandits and of the murder of Lord and Lady Von Essen. She told them that she had run away from the carriage, Meike in tow, and that during their escape they had become separated, which was not a complete lie. It was very late at night, you see, and foggy with it. I could hardly see nothing. I was holding Lady Meike's hand, but I was so afraid I ran on heads. When my senses had returned and I stopped to look behind me, I couldn't see Lady Meike anywhere. She just up and vanished. The pair of police officers had asked Henny if she had heard anything suggesting struggle, or else her mistress's screams, but to this, Henny stubbornly shook her head. I know what you're implying, and no, I didn't hear any such thing. I don't think the bandits got their filthy mitts on my mistress. I'm sure she escaped, but I've not a clue where she might be right now. She could still be wandering the woods for all I know, just like a nomad. Oh, I can barely stomach the thought. My poor mistress deserves much better than that. Please, good sirs, I know my mistress is still alive. She must be. Lady Meike might have looked delicate, but she was surprisingly strong. She was quite the tomboy when she was little. She was always getting into scrapes. A woman like that wouldn't simply die. She just wouldn't. It's impossible. Let me know, by the way, if my mic is, like, cutting out too much at any point, because I'm still not sure which, like, noise compression is better. If it keeps cutting me off while I'm voice acting, then tell me and I'll switch it around. If by divine providence your mistress still lives, then we will find her. Searching for missing persons is our job. You've no need to trouble yourself on the matter further, Fraulein. It was something, Henny supposed, in the wake of the officer's visit, but their reassurances had not left her feeling particularly cheered. Henny! I wish someone would believe her! I know why they won't, but I wish they would! Henny, my sweetheart. I'm sorry, did the maid call her mistress a tomboy? Yeah, I guess she was a tomboy when she was little. Henny had been able to tell the constables, like Walter... Oh, Henny had been able to tell that the constables, like Walter, thought that Meike was a lost cause. Henny did not doubt that the local constabulary would send some officers into the woods to search for a body, but their perfunctory efforts would fail. They would find Lord and Lady Von Essen slumped in their carriage, but Meike would be absent. The police could comb through the forest as thoroughly as they wished, but any search undertaken with so little information seemed doomed to failure. Henny knew, as surely as she knew her own mother's birthday, that Augsburg's officers would never find Meike. Well, I mean, as surely as she knew her own mother's birthday is crazy, because me personally, I do not know that very surely. Wait, one sec. Where's my phone word? Meike's body was not lying on the forest floor, abandoned and curled up and cut apart by bandits. Meike was, instead, at Magdalena's mercy in her eerie abode deep in the heart of the forest. Whether Meike was still alive was a mystery, but Henny wanted to believe Meike lived still. She had to believe that. She could not bear the thought of her mistress being tortured. Henny feared she might have to countenance such a thought, however, as the days passed and she heard nothing of the police's investigation. No! Baby girl. I mean, she's living her best life, though, so you don't really need to worry, Queen. Of course, the MC is a tomboy. Makes so much sense how she's able to stand up against the vampire, even her eyes are see-through his cloth. Yeah, it's both so. Though Henny was familiar with the phrase, no news is good news, she rather feared that in this case, no news meant nothing was being done. Nobody seemed to care for Meike other than Henny herself, but she could do nothing on her own. Oh, I forgot about his fuck-ass portrait. Growing desperate, Henny had attempted once more to impress upon Walter the seriousness of Meike's situation, but he refused to listen. You would come into my office and talk of bloodsuckers again? Walter had asked of her, his expression one of cultivated disdain. I understand that you suffered a nasty tumble in the forest, Frau Henrietta, but it has been a week since then. I would have hoped that you would have regained some of your senses since... I assure you, Egerhard, I'm quite sensible. I'm trying to tell you the truth. Meike was... Kidnapped by a vampire, yes, I know you have said twice now. You are very adamant about your claims, I must admit. It's almost impressive, in a way, but you are laboring under a misapprehension. Vampires do not exist, ergo, a vampire could not have captured my Meike. They are the stuff of stories. But... Not another word. I'll not have you contradicting me in my own home, Frau Henrik. Oh god, I hate him! Oh my god! I took you in because I thought it the right thing to do. Please do not make me regret my act of philanthropy. You can continue to remain here if you wish, for as long as you like. But while you are subsiding upon my kindness, you must abide by my rules. I won't have you bandying about vampires in my home and distressing my servants. They are impressionable enough as it is. Without you further exciting them with your wild stories.
But they're not stories!
Not to you, perhaps, but that is part of the problem. You do not want to be taken to an asylum, do you?
Of course not.
Then you would do well to hold your tongue. Silence is golden.
What about Meike? Will you not at least try to look for her?
The police are trying. That is their job. It would not behove me to get in their way. I am sure they will turn Meike's body up sooner or later, if there is a body to be found. As for this talk of ferreting out this vampire's secret hidey hole, well... Oh my god, he's doing the fucking Latin again. I hate him so bad. He's such a fucking douchebag, dude. I bet he'd be a fucking AI bro if he was in modern times. Impossibilium nulla obligatio est. Now, you may leave. I'm a busy man, and I have a good deal of work to attend to. Out! Out! And that had been the end of that. Oh my god! This dude's gonna drive me insane, man. Swiftly dismissed by Walter, Henny had stalked through the hallways of his home, all the while burning with the shame and the anger of it all. How dare Walter treat Meike's welfare in so cavalier a manner? Why, it was almost as though he thought her welfare did not concern him, as though he had not been poised to marry her and inherit her family's august title. He's so annoying, I know! That, Henny had thought bitterly, was all Walter had ever cared about. He had not loved Meike as she did, because Meike was Meike. He had loved Meike only for her status. He had loved her because she was a von Essen. Oh, how quickly love could vanish when its foundations were so flimsy. Henny supposed there was a fancy Latin saying to express this statement, but if there was, she didn't know it. She was not half so learned as Walter, with all his books and all of his pomp, but at least she had a heart, one which was currently bleeding for her mistress's sake. With no strings of her own to pull, the police incompetent, and Walter well and truly alienated, and he had known not what next to do. Henny had spent the following ruminating, at a loss. She felt well enough now to move, and so she did. Henny had begun to help her fellow maidservants tend to the household chores in Walter's home, for want of anything better to do, though she was not one of Walter's official employees. Moving her hands gave her some relief from the thoughts which whirred in her head, and Henny was acquainted enough with housework that these mundane, repetitive tasks were almost welcome. Beating carpets and polishing banisters reminded Henny of simpler, happier time, when she had worked for Lord and Lady von Essen, and during her breaks had sneaked into Meike's room to play cards with her. Meike had always lost at cards. She had been hopeless at it. Her ability to tell lies had been almost non-existent, but she had told many lies for Henny's sake. She had risked her own life for that of her maid. Would any other mistress have been so kind? No, they wouldn't! Punches him in the face. Thanks, Serena. Thank you, Serena. Serena's like, hey, if you don't start treating Meike right, I'm gonna have to step in. What are you gonna do? Step in. Henny did not imagine that Meike's mother, the indomitable Lady von Essen, would. She was the kind of woman who would have drowned puppies to save her own neck. Not that her ruthless calculations had done her much good in the end. She had died, but Meike had not. Not yet, at least. That was what Henny hoped. With each day that passed, however, it grew harder to cling on to this hope of hers, which had begun to look rather fragile. Being a lesbian! I'm so sorry, Queen. I really hate to tell you this, Henny. She's busy kissing girls! It was easier for Henny to endure her anxieties while the sun was still up and she had chores to attend to. At night, however, as she lay in bed in the darkened servants' quarters, her fears began to crowd in about her. Meike was never far from Henny's mind, but it was impossible to completely extricate her young mistress from her thoughts during quiet moments such as these. Scored by the slow, soothing sighs of 6 other women, all curled beneath their thin covers, dreaming their own domestic dreams, Henny thought. She was so lost in her thoughts on one particular night, however, that she failed to hear the creak of floorboards beneath her, and, as such, nearly jumped out of her skin when her soft voice called to her from the shadows. Are you all right? Oh! Henny gasped in surprise and wheeled about, her elbow bumping against the chipped sill with a dull thud. Oh my god, this girl is so cute! Every single character designed in this game is so cute. They all have so much personality. I love how this artist draws them. Like, their faces are rendered so soft. They all have such unique little features. How is every single girl in this game cute? I'm supposed to be dating the vampire. I can't date all of them. The collision of elbow against the windowsill was a loud one, but Henny's resultant curses were louder still. A couple of the maids shifted at this, their eyelids fluttering, but they did not awake. Not a single one of them. They must have been exhausted by the tasks they had to perform day in, day out under Gertrude's watchful gaze. Walter Gerhardt mightn't have cared much for his missing fiancée, but he cared a good deal about the running of his home, and had ordered Gertrude to be exacting in her duties as his housekeeper. His maidservants were all run ragged, and Henny was no exception to this.
Goodness me!
The owner of the timid voice who would startle Henny so exclaimed, then started forwards. A shaft of moonlight fell upon the mysterious interloper's face, and Henny soon divined they were not so very mysterious after all. She's so cute! Look at her! She's so pretty! She's so cute! A new face has entered the game of love, yeah. The speaker was none other than Agnes. Agnes Becker was a small, slender thing, about 15 or 16 years of age, with a shock of fiery red hair rather like Meike's that did not at all match her reserved personality. Her snub nose was smattered liberally with freckles, and her eyes were brown, like those of a doe. I love their descriptions. They're so beautiful. Like, they paint such a lovely picture each time. Henny had made little effort ingratiating herself with Walter's servants. It seemed a waste, given she had no intentions of remaining in his household, but she had grown rather fond of Agnes, despite herself during the last 2 weeks. It's like all of the descriptions make it feel like you're just reading a novel, even though they have the visuals here too, which is really amazing. They paint it out as if you can't see them, and like give you this whole beautiful image in your head. When they are accompanied by these pretty paintings, it's like it gives it like so much atmosphere. I love it. It was hard not to be fond of Agnes, and she was so sweet and so gentle and so eager to please. Though Henny thought grimly, she did not feel at all that fond of her now, with her elbow smarting as it did.
I'm very sorry.
Agnes mumbled this apology to her feet, her fingers twined together at her front. She was wearing a nightgown, a white shapeless thing made of flannel, that seemed several sizes too large for her. It swamped Agnes's diminutive form, making her appear even smaller than she already was.
I didn't mean to startle you. I only saw that you were awake, and, well, I'm also awake, as you can clearly see. Yes, I can see. It might be dark, but I do have eyes, and ears alongside them. Right, of course. I'm sorry, that was silly of me to say. I always seem to say silly things. The other maids say I must have porridge brains, and maybe they're right. Little idiot, her mind calls me, and I think she's right. But I'm getting carried away again. Sorry.
Agnes flushed, and her whole face seemed to catch fire, her cheeks and her hair a bright striking red. She's so cute! Oh my god, she's so cute! Hold up, do you think I might get an extra love story with Henny? That's actually what I'm hoping. I'm like praying right now. If we get a little side love story for Henny, if she gets to confide in someone, I will be so happy because I love Henny so much. She's so sweet. She deserves the world. And like Meike was praying before, when she was on her own and thinking about Henny, that Henny might be able to like go and start a life and live happily one day, and then she'd be able to be peaceful living it the way she is right now. Oh, I hope so. Yeah, you can literally see this, just see this as a Victorian novel with occasional black and white illustrations, right? That's what's so amazing about it. They write it out with all of these gorgeous descriptions as if it's just a novel of its own with no visuals to go along with it. And like, they already paint such an incredible picture in your head and then give you these gorgeous illustrations alongside it. It's crazy. It makes the whole thing like so magical feeling.
I've been finding it hard to sleep lately myself. I've not been here all that long and I'm missing my parents and... Oh, but that's not important. I actually wanted to talk to you about you, not about myself. I've wanted to talk to you for a while, actually. If you don't mind, that is.
Well, that depends on what you want to talk to me about.
Oh, well... I hope this doesn't seem like too much of an imposition. I don't want to pry, really, but I've been wondering. You were attacked by bandits, weren't you? At least that's what I heard. Hermione was talking about it. I don't know if it's true or not, though. Hermione says a lot of things. She's an awful gossip. I thought that might have been one of her silly stories. It almost sounds too dramatic to be real.
Henny surveyed Agnes mutely for a few moments, unblinking. Walter had warned Henny not to speak of that night among his maids for fear of exciting them, a warning Henny had tried to adhere to. She possessed no desire to make an enemy of Walter Gerhardt, not when she had been hoping to form an alliance with him. This had been before Walter's second insensitive dismissal of Henny's worries, however. Now the young maid knew Walter could not be persuaded. He was an arrogant bully of a man, and Henny had no longer cared tuppence for him. 2 love stories at the price of 1. I hope so! She would have preferred to keep out of trouble, but it wasn't as though Henny had spoken of her experiences with the other maids. She's so dumb, sweet. We have to protect her. Yeah! I hope these two, I'm praying these two, they're gonna fall in love, okay? This is my copium. Even if it doesn't happen, they're gonna fall in love, and they're gonna go live a happy life, and they're gonna be cottagecore lesbians together, and they're gonna grow flowers together, and then eventually they're gonna go get to visit Meike and Magdalena, the vampires in the forest, and they're gonna all live in the forest happily ever after, and everything's gonna be okay. Trust me. Trust me. She had been stony-lipped about the night and the bandits that ransacked Lord and Lady Von Essen's carriage, and about her and Meike's escape. If the other maids had guessed what had happened through hearsay and whispered rumors, Henny could hardly be blamed for it. She would only be confirming what Agnes had already suspected. And so it was, after a pause, that Henny replied. No, Hermione's right. I really was chased by a bunch of rotten bandits, and so was my poor mistress. Goodness, I was sure Hermione was making things up again, but does that mean that there really are bandits out there in the woods? Agnes cast an uneasy glance out the window, then shuddered. I've no need to go into the woods myself. My parents always warned me it was dangerous, but it's scary to think about all the same. It was scary to live through too, I assure you. But I reckon it was much worse for my mistress. Oh yes, I'm sure it would have been. I'm sorry. I'm glad you're all right at least, but your mistress. I really love being able to voice act this many different characters, by the way. It's part of why playing visual novels is really fun for me. I love getting an excuse to do a bunch of different voices at once. I think it's so much fun.
That must have been difficult. It was, yes. It still is.
It's like a really good exercise for me in trying to see how many different voices I can pull out of my vocal range, I guess. Like, not just in pitch, but in their quality and their accents and stuff, and make sure that they sound distinct from each other. It's like a little challenge, and I really like the challenge. I like being challenged.
Do you still think about her a lot?
Every single day.
I see. I'm sorry for asking so many questions. I'm just curious is all. I've never met anybody who was attacked by bandits before. It must have been terrifying. I just hope I don't seem tactless. Hermione says I talk before I think, but Hermione's rude to everybody, even Brow Scrapper.
It's alright. You can be more tactless than your employer is. At least you actually seem to care.
You mean Herr Gerhardt?
That's right.
Did you have a quarrel with him? Hermione said he'd been shouting at you in his office last week, but I don't know if I believe that either. Herr Gerhardt is strict, but he isn't such a bad man. There are worse employers, and it was nice of him to let you stay here. I don't think he means ill.
Maybe he doesn't mean any ill, but I don't know if he means any good either. Herr Gerhardt only seems to care about Herr Gerhardt, which is fine, I'll fancy, if you're a businessman you're trying to get things done. Treating your fiancé in such a flippant way, however. I think that's downright wicked.
So you two did have an argument?
We did, yes, and I didn't know anybody had overheard it, though. It was supposed to be private.
I'm afraid nothing stays private for very long around here. It took Hermione less than a week to sniff out my family's darkest secrets, though how she did it I have no idea.
She seems to know absolutely everything that happens in this place. Do you think she's listening to us right now? Henny glanced at Hermione's bed, which was located next to Agnes's, the second along from the window. The famous Hermione herself was lying beneath her covers, curled up, her copper hair spooled across her pillow like a tangle of snakes. Henny had spoken little to the maids under Walter's employ, but even she was aware of Hermione. She appeared of an age with Henny, perhaps slightly older, and she was so stunningly beautiful she seemed almost otherworldly. Though a maid, Hermione possessed an attitude more appropriate for a duchess. She often ignored her tasks to gossip with the other maids, a fact which frustrated Gertrude to no end. Gertrude was forever having stern words with Hermione, who never seemed to take any of it to heart. For the amount of time she found herself in hot water, Hermione had yet to be properly scolded. Henny had to wonder why Hermione had not yet been dismissed from Walter Gerhardt's household, but perhaps Walter had a soft spot for her. It wasn't hard to see why. One only needed to look at Hermione's face. She looked eerily like Meike, so much so they could have been sisters. Walter Gerhardt must have had a type. Ew! I hate him! Ew!
I think she's asleep.
Agnes spoke while looking at the dozing Hermione, but her voice was uncertain. Frowning, Agnes turned back on Hermione and said,
Hermione said that you said that your mistress was still alive. Herr Gerhardt seems to think she was killed by bandits, but you think she's been taken a prisoner instead. You said she'd been kidnapped by a...
Agnes leant in close to Henny. Then, very quietly, she said,
vampire.
The word vampire was horribly out of place in the quiet servants' quarters. It sounded ludicrous, preposterous even. Henny could see with uncomfortable clarity why Walter had regarded her with such scorn when she had told him about Magdalena. Henny must have appeared crazed when she had begun espousing upon such grisly subjects which were unfit for ladies to dwell upon. But no matter how unfeasible, that did not make it any less truthful.
Yes, that's exactly it.
I know that vampires exist. I've seen one with my own 2 eyes. I won't let anybody deny that, not even Walter bloody Gerhard, even if he thinks me touched in the head. I'm not crazy. I'm perfectly sane. A vampire kidnapped my mistress. She kidnapped me too, but my mistress convinced her to let me go. Even now, she was still there in her castle, while that awful vampire just God only knows what with her. Meike risked her life for my sake. Helping her is the least I can do. But there's nothing I can do. I tried to talk her Gerhard around, but he won't see reason. He threatened to send me to an asylum if I keep up this talk of vampires, and then I really will be in a pinch. I'm trying to be strong for Meike's sake, but I haven't the foggiest of what to do next. I feel like a headless chicken. And if you're anything like your master, you probably think I'm batting now too.
Oh, no! I don't think you're crazy, Henrietta, not at all.
You don't?
No, you might be crazy with concern about your mistress, but I can't blame you for that. You must love her a lot to fret this much. You're a very loyal servant.
Oh my god! She believes her! She believes her! Let's go! Finally somebody on her side! Oh my god. Oh my god.
I was more than Meike's servant. I was her friend too. We've been together ever since we were children. She meant everything to me. She still does. I want to save her more than anything, but I keep running into dead ends. It doesn't seem like anybody in this place wants to help. It does sound very difficult, but you're not alone anymore. I believe you, even if her Gerhard doesn't. I don't think you're a liar, and I don't think you're insane either. This is why I wanted to talk to you, actually. It's because I heard about the vampires, and, well...
Agnes's doe-like eyes filled with determination as she said,
I had to check first, to make sure her mind wasn't telling tales. But now I know there's some truth to the rumors. I'd like to try and help you.
Me? Now, this was a surprising turn of events. Let's go, yippee! I have to try and sing my yippies lower so that it doesn't cut me off on the mic. But yippee! Oh my god, somebody believes us! Yippee! Now, this was a surprising turn of events. Henny hadn't expected that Agnes would be so willing to swallow her frankly unbelievable tales of bloodsuckers, nor that she would offer to aid her. What this aid entailed, however, was yet a mystery. Agnes was small and slender, with limbs like twigs, and she was so very young, it seemed unlikely that she knew very much about the world. She might have even been more isolated than Meike had been. Agnes, unlike Walter, had no wealth nor any connections. She was just a maid, a simple girl from a poor family, working for pennies to support her parents. While it was nice to be believed, Henny did not place much faith in her as a potential ally. She didn't want to get her hopes up prematurely, but she was intrigued.
How could you help me exactly?
Agnes must have heard the apprehension in Henny's voice, because once more she blushed.
No, you misunderstand. I wouldn't be helping you, not directly at least. I'd never be able to best a vampire. But I know somebody who can.
And who would this be?
If you want somebody to look for your mistress, somebody who really cares, I mean, you should go to St. Cecilia's this coming Sunday. There's a priest who sometimes gives sermons there called Father...
Oh god, they've got to stop putting names that I can't say! Hang on, I need to look up how to pronounce this. 1 second. Dvorak. Dvorak? It's a Czech name, apparently. I didn't know that. Dvorak. Oh, there's okay, Dvorak. Dvorak. Finally ungaslighted. I know. Oh my god. Dvorak. Okay.
There's a priest who sometimes gives sermons there called Father Dvorak. He's very open-minded, and I'm sure he would listen to your concerns without questioning you.
He must be very open-minded indeed to swallow stories about vampires in good faith. And Father Dvorak? Where's he come from? That's no name I've ever heard before.
He's from Bohemia, I think. He has a bit of an accent, but his German is fluent, and his sermons are really quite good. My mother is very fond of him. She always used to take me to listen to him preach whenever he was at St. Cecilia's, which he isn't always.
Father Dvorak, how did Dvorak mention? New World Symphony? Are we getting antitism activated? I swear, this priest is hot too, I swear to God. He probably won't be. Probably. I hope so.
He would often disappear for weeks, sometimes months at a time. So, he's a travelling priest.
Agnes nodded.
He's recently returned from a trip, though. I think he's in Augsburg now. You should be able to see him this Sunday, or at least I think you should. I'd be disappointed if you can't. I've been meaning to attend his sermon this Sunday, too. You sound very fond of this Bohemian priest. Oh, I can't sing Father Dvorak praises enough. He's a real gentleman. He helped my mother a lot, you see, after my father... well...
Agnes blushed hotly, as seemed to be her wont.
I won't go into that. It's personal. You'll probably find out sooner or later anyway, if you stay here long enough. Her mind likes to needle me about it, as if I'm somehow to blame for my father's actions. But enough about that.
Whoa, what the fuck did her dad do? Huh? Very curious. Addie, I have no idea what you're saying, but go off, bestie.
I'm sure he'll be able to do the same for you.
He sounds like a nice man, but isn't helping with family affairs rather different from hunting down vicious vampires?
Well, my family's affairs are rather sensitive in nature. I'm not talking about a mere domestic dispute here. It was a complicated matter, but Father Dvorak helped a lot when I was sure nobody else could. He really is incredible.
Is he now? Henny raised an eyebrow, but if Agnes saw it, perhaps she didn't. It was rather dark. She made no comment on it. Instead, she clenched her hands into fists and said with as much excitement as she dared, given the lateness of the hour.
Yeah, he gives spiritual guidance to anybody who needs it, but he also has experience dealing with unholy monsters. He even performs exorcisms. He's the perfect man for the job, and he's a priest. You can trust him.
She's so sweet. I love her. I really hope this guy is trustworthy. I'm really praying that he's trustworthy and also that he doesn't try to because him performing exorcism is like, on one hand, it gives me more hope that he'll actually believe her. And on the other hand, it gives me more nerves that he's gonna just like say that Henny has the devil in her head or something. But I'm praying. Doogie, please protect this maid, right? Oh my God, I love her. She's so sweet. She's such an angel. Wait, I got a voice note from Addie. Oh! Thank you, Addie. Addie sent me a voice note on Discord of what they were saying in chat. Thank you. Now I understand. Well, I wonder. A ponderous Henny glanced away from Agnes, whose enthusiasm was almost palpable, to the window. It seemed highly unlikely that a single priest would be able to stop Magdalena, even one who came as highly recommended as this Father Dvorak. Henny had seen how Magdalena had torn those bandits limb from limb in the blinking of an eye. It would take a whole fleet of men to stop Magdalena, and it was doubtful whether even that would be enough. But this Father Dvorak must have been better than nothing. Henny had little faith in Agnes's priest, but she would seek him out all the same. She did not stand to lose anything by a brief consultation, not when she had already lost everything she cared for. All right then, let me speak to this highly esteemed father. Perhaps he can help. Henny only hoped, as she gazed at the night sky, that she had not left it too late. I'm nervous he's gonna get Lena slain. Yeah, exactly. I'm really scared. Either something's gonna happen to Lena, or he's gonna like deem Henny insane or something. I'm really worried. Oh, what? There's something in my nose. Come on. Oof. Meike felt weary when she awoke the following morning, exhausted after a night of uneasy sleep which had been broken up with bad dreams. The gash upon the inside of her wrist still stung, though it had stopped bleeding. The gash was not particularly large, but it showed up starkly on Meike's skin, a thin ribbon of bright red which intercepted the whiteness of her arm. Oh my God, yeah! Because she bit her last night! I forgot about that! Meike sighed as she sat upright, shivering as the cover slipped from her bare shoulders. It was a cold, overcast sort of morning, the rays of light which streamed into her room thin and grey. Briefly, Meike considered rising, dressing, and washing her face, but soon dismissed this idea.
She had not the energy to go about her daily routine as though nothing was awry. The thought was almost unbearable. Meike's tiredness was something more than a physical feeling. It was entrenched within her mind, deeper than the tangled knot of roots which fed the mightiest of oak trees. God, do you see what I mean? Their writing is so gorgeous. It really feels like a gothic novel I could just buy and read, even without all of the game part. It's so beautiful. It's so stunning. I need to study their metaphor game, dude. I need to level up. Magdalena had not taken so very much of her blood the night prior, but Meike still felt drained. She still had blood enough in her veins to animate her arms and legs, but her body refused to move. She was too preoccupied with her thoughts of last night, and of Magdalena. Let's go. The lesbian thoughts are getting to her. She didn't actually bite her, she just slid her arm and collected the— Oh, right, yes, I forgot! Right, yeah, that's why it's such a gash. Thank you, Serena. Serena remembers more about the lesbian vampire than me, I wonder why. But yeah, she cut into her arm, with the pretty knife and held her, and then took it to a container. And then she fucking went upstairs with it and did something mysterious with it to potentially another person. Right, I remember now. Though unwilling to admit it, Meike might have begun to grow fond of her captor. For a self-proclaimed monster, Magdalena's company had not been too unbearable, not when she spoke to Meike of novels and of poetry. Meike had even begun to wonder whether Magdalena was a monster at all. Surely nobody who talks so animatedly about romanticism could be wicked. Oh, she's a nerd, I love her. Why, Magdalena liked a lot of the same poets Meike did, and many more she had never even heard of. Magdalena spoke of the written word with such piquancy it was really rather touching. At least until she had introduced a knife to Meike's wrist. Magdalena had not looked happy about this turn of events, however. She had been rather apologetic about the whole affair, but this served only to make Meike even more curious. Why had Magdalena drained her blood if she did not wish to do so? Meike turned this thought over in her head, stewing it in, when— Hiya! Hey, queen! I missed you! Hey, baby girl! Excuse me. Meike's musings were interrupted by a rapping of knuckles upon her bedroom door and a familiar voice which spoke in an unfamiliarly soft tone. It was, of course, Magdalena. Are you awake, Meike? And if so, may I come in? I've brought you breakfast. Meike frowned. Minor spelling mistake, fine boom. Meike frowned at that, and letting her arm drop to her side, cast her gaze to the door. Magdalena's nightly visits had been regular throughout Meike's imprisonment, but never once had Magdalena visited her in the morning. Meike had not known Magdalena was able to wander about in the early hours, being a vampire. She had thought them sensitive to the sunlight. Not, Meike supposed, that it was a particularly sunny morning. Miserable would have been the most apt description for it. Her bedroom was freezing. Meike? Magdalena's voice called through the wood once more, and though Meike had resolved anew to dislike her, she felt her heart quiver. Like her, she can't hate her. I now make my entrance. Hi, Serena. She's so right. Romanticism, my beloved. Yeah, she's real as fuck. Why, she sounded almost as ill at ease as Meike felt. Meike found she could not remain silent upon hearing this. Maybe Henny had been right about her. She was too soft, and so responded. Yes, I'm awake, and yes, you can come in. Meike's words. God. I have to remember for a sec that Meike literally looks like a fucking angel. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Okay. Back to my senses. Meike's words were answered with the click of a lock. Her bedroom door swung open to reveal Magdalena, a tray balanced precariously between her hip and her right hand. Magdalena set the tray down, then turned to lock the door. Once it was secured, she brought it to Meike and said, Oh, I'm glad to see you're awake. I was afraid you might be lying in your bed, passed out after last night's excitement. Is that what you want to call it? Well, I suppose I could be more direct. But it doesn't feel very genteel to talk of bleeding you like a pig. That is what you did, though, and it wasn't very genteel either. I know, I didn't much want to do it. But I don't suppose that counts for much, really, when I still did it. I tried to be quick about it, though, and I cleaned your cut afterwards. I'd hate for it to get infected. It was awfully considerate of you, I'm sure. I'm being as considerate as I... I'm sorry, my mouth went weird there.
Maike tsundere. She kind of is a little bit. I think it's not so much because she's like tsundere in the normal way, but because she doesn't want to give in. She doesn't want to like the vampire who she's been so staunchly set on hating so far, you know? Like, she's like, this is a monster who has kidnapped me. But she's really nice, though. I'm being as considerate as I can, which I know isn't very. But look, I wouldn't be here to see you if I didn't care. Here's your breakfast. Are you hungry? Magdalena handed Maike the tray, which she accepted, the teacup shifting on its saucer. Maike poured herself a cup of fragrant tea with one weak, trembling arm, though she wasn't much in the mood for it. Maike didn't want to eat or drink anything. She felt too weary. Magdalena was looking at her with expectant eyes, however, and Maike didn't want to upset her. That would have seemed cruel, especially when she was trying so hard. Girl, she loves her! See, a normal person who wasn't in love with her would be like, oh, I don't want to upset her, you know, she's the one who kidnapped me. I shouldn't piss her off. But instead, she's like, oh, that would seem mean when she's being so nice to me. You love her! You love her, girl!
I was wondering.
Maike swallowed a mouthful of her tea. It was chamomile today, then looked at Magdalena curiously. Oh, other way. Whoops. I was wondering.
What is it?
You've been shut up inside this room for a long time now. Almost an entire fortnight. If I were in your position, I'm afraid I would have gone quite mad. Maike did not say as much. She was busy sipping her tea. But she did not wish to discard the possibility. Her warring feelings about Magdalena did not point at all to a healthy mind. But then again, Maike's mind had never been healthy, not in the way a young woman's ought to. I do feel sorry for you. Keeping you cooped up like this can't be good for you. I would hate to make you miserable. Oh, well. Magdalena smiled bashfully. If she had been human, perhaps she would have blushed, but her pale cheeks remained chalky. Oh, that's so cute! More miserable than I'm making you already. I don't want us to be enemies. I'm quite glad of your company, in fact, and I'm tired of this jailer and warden act. I think it might be nice if we could engage in a pursuit that would be more conventional for a pair of young ladies. The word conventional put Maike in mind of her mother, in the Von Essen drawing room in her horrid embroidery hoop. Her back stiffened, and with a frown she said,
Such as?
My, you're looking at me with such distrust. I've no ulterior motives here, Maike. I'm always very upfront when I wish harm upon people, and I will continue to be so. Oh my god. She's such a girl boss for that. Yeah, if I wanted to hurt you, I'd just tell you, babe. Don't worry about it. What I say is what I mean. You've no need to second guess me. I thought only that we might take a turn around the garden. It isn't too much to look at it now. We should have seen it 1 century ago. But it's less oppressive than its room, at any rate. Not that that's much of an accomplishment. Would you mind accompanying me? Oh my god, they're gonna go on a date! They're gonna go on a date! They're gonna go on a date in the garden! They're gonna go for a walk in the garden! Serena, specifically, this is reminding me of the alooone episode where they go dancing when they're having the contest with that prince. Magdalena's smile was light, but Maike could see something dark lurking beyond it. Not bloodlust, but a desire for something more intangible. Maike could still recall Magdalena's earlier claim that she cared about her, no matter how contrary her actions seemed to be. The upfront about harm line is another line I'm stealing. Exactly! She just keeps cooking. I love her. She's so iconic. Did Magdalena feel guilty? Well, good. Magdalena should have felt guilty. She deserved as much, after what she had done. That was what Maike wished to think, at least, but part of her could not help but pity her. Maike had been lonely, shut up inside her drab bed chamber. But what of Magdalena? Surely she had suffered worse, and for far longer. Though Magdalena had come, ostensibly, to offer Maike a respite from her incarceration, perhaps Magdalena had been hoping for a bit of peace herself. That was why, after a pause, Maike assented. All right, we can go into the garden if you'd like. Though it's been such a long while since I last stretched my legs, I'm afraid I might have forgotten how. Sorry, my sentences are coming out all jumbled today. Oh, don't worry about that. If you do fall, I can catch you. I'm very strong, you know. Magdalena grinned, her sharp incisors flashing, and as she did, Maike was struck by a very strange thought indeed. Magdalena looked surprisingly, disarmingly pretty when she smiled. Lesbians! Oh my god! 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 Look at them! Look at them! Look at them! Look at them! They're matching! They're matching! They're matching outfits. Magdalena is fucking eating with that hat, by the way. Like, I know she needs the hat, obviously, so she doesn't get burned by the sun, but like, slay, girl! Jesus Christ! Go off, queen! Oh my god! And Meike with her big parasol and their matching colored outfits! I love the costume designs in this game so much. They're so stunning. A strange thought, you say, right? Oh my god. Ugh, it really is a dull day. Why, it's almost as gloomy outside as it was in. Magdalena sighed as she surveyed her garden, or what remained of it. She was wearing a wide-brimmed hat, presumably to shield her head from the sun's rays. Though with so little sunlight, this might have been an unnecessary precaution. Meike, meanwhile, gripped a parasol betwixt her gloved fingers. Magdalena had offered it to her before they left to protect her pale skin. Though this, too, had been a wholly unnecessary gesture. I'm starting to wonder whether this mightn't have been a fool's errand. There's not a single scenic spot in my home. I don't know if it would have... Let me try again. I don't know if it wouldn't be much improved by a little sunlight. I've no stomach for it, but it would be less cold at least. I love her little pouch. She's so cute. Now, that was an interesting idea.
Do vampires feel the cold?
I don't know, but I can tell it must be chilly. If it wasn't, you wouldn't be shaking so much. Are you alright?
I'm fine. I'll live.
For the present, at least, for however long that Magdalena allowed it. This music is so pretty, guys. It's so romantic and sweet. Pokemon, let's go, lesbians! I love the hat. Right, it's so gorgeous. Oh my god, she's slaying. I love the, by the way, the fact that her hat has like these tiny little blue flowers on it. It's like complimenting Maika's blue eyes is the only blue thing when they're all otherwise matching in Magdalena's red and black. Just saying. I love when pretty girls match each other. I'm glad to hear that. Do tell me, though, if you feel a chill setting in. I wouldn't want you to catch a cold. We can go back inside as soon as the novelty of the great outdoors is worn off. Or alternatively, as soon as you feel your fingers might freeze.
I will keep that in mind, thank you. My glove should protect me well enough. Though, and I don't think I'm in the mood to go back just yet.
Are you too busy enjoying the view?
I don't know if the view is all that enjoyable, but there is a lot of it.
I guess, if there's one thing this grand pile isn't one for, it's space. In fact, I think there's a trifle too much of it. The garden has been left to go to seed over the years, but can you blame me? There's only one of me, and I wouldn't even know where to begin taming all of this. Magdalena gestured to the garden, which sprawled about her in a wild, unruly mess, all overgrown grass, decaying trees, and wildflowers which swayed in the breeze. Oh my gosh. There was a fountain not so far away, which had once been topped with a stony effigy of Cupid. Cupid had since fallen off his perch, however, and he lay in pieces in the basin of the fountain, his shattered head spotted all over with lichen. The fountain itself, meanwhile, had stopped working many years prior. Its cracked basin was full of naught save loose leaves, dirt, and bits and pieces of poor Cupid's broken body. Past the fountain was a tangle of rose bushes, which had been left to run riot over the decades. Perhaps they'd looked pretty once, when there had been gardeners to trim them into regulation, but now they were quite wild. The bushes were more thorns than roses, though the few roses that existed were still impressively red, scant splotches of colours against the otherwise grey landscape. The sky above the meandering pair, meanwhile, was festooned with clouds. It looked as though it might soon rain, and the air which snaked through Magdalena's garden was chilly. The sun was scarcely visible, but Magdalena still shied away from it. Though there was precious little sunlight to be had, Meike was still curious. Was it really safe for Magdalena to wander about like this?
Do you often wander your gardens like this?
With my captives, you mean? Or are you referring to the time of day?
Well, both, I suppose.
Let me see. To the first, I would say no. I am not in the business of consorting with my captives beyond what is strictly necessary. It would not do to get too attached. Not that there's ever been much danger of that. You were the first lady I've had the pleasure of spending time with. Perhaps that is why I've come over all sentimental. Magdalena shook her head, as though bemused at her own antics. The breeze caught in her fair tresses as she did so her lovely hair fluttered about her shoulders. As for the second, no, I'm not in the habit of pacing about during the daylight hours. I'm not particularly fond of the sun, an opinion which is shared among the rest of my kind. I find it quite unpleasant, in fact. For any brighter today than it is, I would not have ventured outside at all. I can just about bear it for the present, but the summer is perfectly vile. Magdalena pulled a face. She looked so very incensed. She induced Meike to laugh. Meike's smile is so pretty. Look at them. I love the way their dynamic turns around like this. Like, they have the moments where Magdalena's all cool and powerful and Meike's just like, whoa. But then other times, like, Magdalena's so, like, pouty and childish and silly, and Meike, she's so sweet. Oh my god. I love their dynamic. I love the range to it. It makes it, when there's like range to the energy between them like this, it makes it so much easier to see them as equals who are in love and not just a captive and their hunter, you know?
So you usually spend the day indoors?
Indoors and asleep, yes. I'm being quite naughty, really, consorting with you like this. It's long past my bedtime.
I did think it unusual that you came to my room this morning. Haven't you been able to sleep?
I tried, but I was unsuccessful. Sleep seemed like a fool's errand, so I decided I might as well spend my time with you. Your company is more agreeable than being on my own, when I have nothing to distract me to save my thoughts.
And what thoughts, may I ask, have you been ruminating on?
I guess when they said that the 70s were the better times, they're right along. This is what people watch nowadays? What, you mean lesbians? I mean, if you want to watch something from the 70s, you can go do that. I'm having a great time watching pretty vampire lesbians. You may ask, but I might not answer. You're being awfully nosy for a lady, Meike. Did your mother never tell you to keep your nose out of other people's affairs? I love her little smirk.
She might have mentioned it once or twice.
And she would do well to listen to her. We all have our secrets. Why, next you will be asking me about my marriage prospects.
Do you have any marriage prospects?
Not anymore. Not that I'm aware of, at least. I was never much of a prize even when I was alive, but now that ship has well and truly left the harbor. Magdalena's smile remained light, much like her pattering banter, but Meike thought it appeared somewhat strained. Now she was examining Magdalena in the morning light. Not that the morning was particularly bright. She could see how weary she looked. Magdalena's skin had been pale when Meike first met her, but now it seemed not entirely dissimilar oh my gosh, I can't speak today, what the heck? Now it seemed not entirely dissimilar to fallen snow. Magdalena was white enough to seem sickly, but her under eyes were dark and smudgy by contrast, as though they had been bruised. Was that from her own guilty conscience, or else a lack of sleep? Maybe, Meike thought, the two were intrinsically linked. Yeah, you are intrinsically linked by fate to be together! It was too much of a coincidence, surely, that Magdalena had lost sleep following last night's events. Let us talk no more on the subject of my love life. It's depressing to countenance, and deader I fear than the bandits I slew. What do you think of these roses? Magdalena paused by the untamed tumble of rose bushes which spewed beyond the fountain of Cupid. The leaves worm-eaten, but the roses themselves vast and untouched, like the red-lipped mouths of so many monsters. They are quite something, don't you think? They add a bit of color to the place, at least. I think they must be the pride and joy of my little garden.
They are certainly very vivid, yes.
They are rather, aren't they? Perhaps I ought to pick a couple of them to commemorate our excursion. They would look lovely in a vase on your desk, or maybe in your hair. At the very least, they might do something to alleviate how desolate my home is. Oh my gosh! 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 Oh my god! 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 How pretty they are! They're on this little deck! Magdalena leant forward as she spoke, one arm extended. Meike watched as she made to pluck one of the large, heavy-headed roses out from among its brethren, but as she did so, Meike noticed something peculiar. The ties which fastened Magdalena's sleeves had come undone, and one of them had rolled down all the whoa! Oh! I beg your pardon? Sorry? What? 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 What the fuck is that? And one of them had rolled down all the way to her elbow, exposing a good deal of her fair skin. Her flesh was uniformly white, a smooth sort of paleness it was impossible to replicate with powders. Magdalena truly looked as though she had been made from falling snow, all compressed and compacted together. But it was not Magdalena's pallor which made Meike draw in her breath. What truly caught Maike's attention was a band of angry red welts which encircled Magdalena's arm. These marks were so pronounced, particularly against the paleness of Magdalena's skin, they were like burns, or else... Maike's brow furrowed with newfound concern, not for herself, but for Magdalena. She could not countenance how Magdalena had received wounds like these. She had thought Magdalena indomitable, impossible to best in a competition of strength. Surely no human could have left such marks. These marks could have been left by an animal, Meike supposed, but Magdalena had dispatched of 4 fully grown men without blinking. Would an animal, even a wolf or a bear, be able to best her? In any event, the wounds did not look as though they had been inflicted by any great hulking creature with a maw full of sharp teeth. They didn't look large enough. Though these marks were small in circumference, they weren't shallow. They were garish even in the weak autumnal sunshine, all puckered, raised welts which had begun to bruise. The rest of Magdalena's skin was pale as death, but these marks seemed almost as kin to a tableau of violence. Who in the world had done such a thing to Magdalena? And why? How? Meike felt rather bewildered. Yeah, those are definitely bite marks! Holy shit! Oh my god! I got an achievement called a Bracelet of Bruises. Yeah, definitely. That fucking vampire, I bet she's still... Oh my god. That vampire that turned her. That's probably the one that she was giving the fucking blood to that's still up there. Have they been draining blood from her? This whole fucking time? No. No. There's at least 3 there. Yeah, but it could still be one person.
Forgive me if I'm being rude, but I could not help but notice,
Meike swallowed, tasting the cool breeze in her breath. She remembered Magdalena's earlier caution, even though she had spoken it in jest.
You're being awfully nosy for a lady, Meike. Did your mother never tell you to keep your nose out of other people's affairs?
But still, she wanted to know. It seemed important all of a sudden that she get to the bottom of this. There was something significant about the injuries Magdalena had sustained. Meike knew it.
What are those marks on your arm?
What? Oh. Magdalena drew back from the roses as though burned by them. Then she glanced down at her arm. When Magdalena saw that her sleeve had rolled back, her expression twisted. She didn't blush. Again, Meike did not think her capable of it, but roughly tugged her sleeve back down. Her expression was one of supercilious guilt, that of a naughty child caught out by her governess. It is nothing, really. Please don't dwell upon it.
How could that be nothing? It looks painful.
It's fine. I'm a strong girl and I can look after myself. You, on the other hand, mightn't be so fortunate. You ought to worry more about your own affairs.
But...
No, there'll be no buts. This conversation is beginning to tire me. It's not very interesting. Let us be on our way. There's more of my garden to see, after all. Meike, seeing it would be impossible to talk Magdalena around, capitulated. Sighing, she looked at Magdalena and said,
Fine, let's do that then.
That we shall. I have much more to show you. Do try to keep a pace with me, my dear Meike, or I shall leave you behind. Then you might never find your way back to my home. Would you care to take my arm to be on the safe side?
That is very gallant of you, I'm sure, but I think I'll be fine.
So you mean to spurn my affections? Oh, my lady, how you wound me! Magdalena's theatrics might have once brought a smile to Meike's lips, but she felt too preoccupied with Magdalena's injuries to attempt anything approaching merriment. Oh, no! God! Like, I want to be happy about her, like, offering her arm and being all, like having the whole riz about it and everything. I really want to be happy about that, but instead, girl! You're dodging the question so much! I want to know about her. This game is so fascinating, genuinely. Like, every time I think I've gotten, like, the general gist of how it's gonna go, they pull out another whole extra story on me. I love it so much. I'm so fascinated. Also, yeah, she's so fucking gay. Being asked why there's fucking bite marks on your arm that seem like they might be from another vampire, and then responding with, like, oh, wouldn't you care to take my arm? Oh, lady, you wound me by not taking it. Is so... Girl, we have priorities here. Hello? That was not a sight she would forget in a hurry. Such wounds couldn't be dismissed as mere trifle, no matter how Magdalena had tried to change the subjects. Her hastiness to hide the marks had been concerning, as was her caginess. Magdalena was definitely hiding something from Meike, but to what end? Meike could not even begin to guess. Magdalena and Meike continued to promenade about Magdalena's expansive gardens, neither speaking more than seemed strictly necessary. Magdalena would pause at irregular intervals so as to point out various interesting features to her companion, but otherwise she remained silent, holding one hand to her head to prevent the wind from blowing her hat away. Eventually, however, she seemed to tire of their aimless wandering. The sky had continued to grow darker as the minutes passed, and it soon began to rain, a faint patina of moisture which fell from the grey clouds above. Wishing to take shelter before a storm could begin in earnest, Magdalena paused by a bench, partially overgrown by tall grass, and took a seat. Welcome to theory making. I mean, you never know what's truly going on. Yeah, fair. Oh my god! Ah! Ah! Whoa! Ah! I looked away from one sec to reach out, and then we get a new pretty CG. What the fuck? I didn't realize there'd be another one. Holy shit! Oh, they're so pretty! Oh my gosh, this shot is so beautiful! I didn't think we'd get two in one scene. Oh my gosh, this is so gorgeous. I love this artist. The way they render these textures is so gorgeous. Like their hair, the shine of everything being wet, these blue tones. Oh my god. Oh my god! Oh, this game is so beautiful. Meike sat at Magdalena's insistence, her parasol unfurled to protect the both of them from the continued rain, and looked at her companion with some concern. Magdalena had seemed animated enough when they'd been wondering about her sprawling gardens, but now her energy deserted her. Her head drooped, her hat falling from it, while her silvery hair spilled over her shoulders like moonbeams. Then she yawned, a yawn so deep it brought tears to her eyes. The rain continued to fall about them, steady pitter-patter, while Magdalena wiped her eye with the back of her arm. Oh, goodness me. Magdalena glanced at Meike, abashed but unblushing, her skin the color of alabaster. I apologize. That was quite rude of me. I must seem so childish inviting you out on a stroll like this, only to yawn in your face. If I were a gentleman, I fear I would have little luck with a lady as fair as you. Why, you would have every right to call me a bore. If you were a gentleman, I wouldn't be going for a walk with you unchaperoned in the first place. It would be scandalous. Yes, well, I suppose you aren't wrong on that account. That makes me feel fortunate, at least, to be a woman. Yeah! I love the way they talk about them being girls in this. It's really sweet. They have a really nice way of writing, like a... I don't know how to put it. It's really interesting, their dynamic, and their, like... discovering, especially Meike, discovering that they're fucking lesbians, while within the context of their, like, their time setting, their period that they're in. That's what I was looking for. They write it really wonderfully. There's no right being good as it is. JK does. Exactly! If I were a gentleman. She said she feels lucky to be a woman. Yeah, you do, because then you can live to it! I keep freaking out, but I'm trying so hard not to, like, scream and squeal, because then it's just gonna cut me off. Magdalena giggled, but it soon cleared before yet another yawn. Oh, I'm sorry. I wouldn't blame you, Meike, if you wished to slap me for being so impertinent. I'm not bored of your presence. I could never be bored of you. Oh, that's so cute! That's so cute! I could never be bored of you. But, well, I'm so very tired. It's all right. I wouldn't slap you on account of something so small. It's irrelevant. But I can't be the most stimulating company, surely, when I can scarcely string two words together. For a woman on the verge of collapse, you've been doing an awfully good job at stringing words together. I would hardly know you were tired, were it not for the bags beneath your eyes, and for the way you've been yawning, of course. I just remembered we did download the adult patch as well, so I'm surprised I haven't seen that. I'm not surprised! They barely even know they like each other yet, dude! I'm sure that's stuff for much, much, much later. Oh, of course. Magdalena let her hand fall to her lap, and there it rested. Sighing, she shifted closer to Meike, then... I apologize, but would you find it horribly presumptuous if I rested my head upon your shoulder for a few minutes? It is very quiet and peaceful out here, you see, among Mother Nature's embrace, and I've been dying to get away from my home for the last week. It's so stifling in there, I can barely bring myself to relax. Now that I'm with you, however, I think I might be able to get some decent sleep. Or at least, brief nap. Then you mean to use me as a pillow? If you would be so kind. Don't feel like you must indulge me, though. I would not wish to inconvenience you. I worry the weight of my oafish head might not be the most comfortable burden to bear. Oh, no! You can use me as a pillow if you wish. I don't mind. As far as impositions went, it was not so very great, not compared to those Magdalena had inflicted upon Mike already.
You may do with me whatever you will.
Now that is a very tempting offer. But fortunately for you, I'm too tired to fully indulge in all the delights you might have to offer. For the present, I can think of nothing but sleep.
Then sleep. I will watch over you.
Like a guardian angel?
Yes, if you'd like.
Oh, how sweet you are. Oh my god! I didn't want to interrupt there because it was so sweet. And I was like, okay, wait, I'll wait until they finish saying this and I'll say something. And then they kept getting sweeter. Oh my god. Gods, they're so in love. Her guardian angel. Sure, the vampire's giving us a... No, I know the vampire... I know that, like, Magdalena's been very open about the fact that she likes her. But, like, Micah hasn't. Micah barely knows that's a concept yet, you know? They're still falling in love, dude. I'm not surprised you haven't seen Adult Patch yet. How the fuck would they fuck this fast? They didn't even do that in Date with Death, and that one's just a chat room. Yeah, that you may do with me whatever you will. And Lena's was... Oh my god! Oh my god! I don't know which part to focus on more. I feel like I'm gonna cry, but also I'm gonna explode. Oh my god. Oh my god. Ah! Magdalena sighed, then shifted. She let her shoulder press against Micah's, her head resting against her. Her pale cheek pressed against the fabric of Micah's dress, and her eyelashes fell shut. You really must be an angel to care for me so much. Sorry, it's something stuck in my throat. That is far more than a slap after all I have done to you, but... Shh. Micah ran her fingers through Magdalena's hair, her knuckles grazing against her companion's scalp. Let's not talk about that now. You're tired. But I've done so many wicked things to you, Micah. I don't know how you can bear to speak to me. How can you stand to touch me? I've done nothing to earn your kindness and everything to earn your scorn.
Maybe so. But I'm not going to scold you for that now, not when you're in such a state.
And what kind of state would this be, pray tell?
One which is hardly suited for continued conversation. It isn't very becoming for a lady. Please rest. Is that not what you wanted?
Yes, I suppose it is. I have wanted to rest for... such a long time.
For the last week, you said?
It has been particularly bad this week, but I've been tired for longer than that. Longer than weeks, or months, or years. I can't say how long I've missed this sort of warmth. I've been alone for more than a century. It was almost more than I could bear. Until, I suppose, I met you. Your company has been most diverting. If you were to leave, I would hardly know what to do.
Well, you've nothing to worry about on that front. I'm not going anywhere.
Yes, I know you're not. You can't. I won't let you.
Lena.
She used the nickname! Micah spoke softly, a nickname slipping from her lips despite herself. Yet it seemed unlikely Magdalena had heard it. Her eyelids were shut, her chest rising and falling, and save for the regular exhalations of her breath, she made no sound. She had fallen fast asleep. They're so sweet. They're so fucking sweet. Hang on, I need to open my drink. Oh my god. I need to replenish my fucking thirst after the tears all fell out from my eyes. Oh my god. I'm gonna cry. They're so cute. She said her nickname. She finally called her Lena. Also, that means she remembered that because she didn't remind her to call her Lena at like any point since she first introduced herself. Which means that that means Micah remembered it from then. She remembered it from then. She's going to use it. Your Honor, I love them so much. I know, me too. They're so sweet. I love them. Let me take a sip of my drink for a sec. I've got 2 drinks actually. Ever since watching one of Elizabeth Rose Blood Flames karaoke streams recently, where she mentioned that she was drinking a Diet Coke because she likes those, but also she had water to make sure to protect her voice. I've started doing the same when I'm doing streams like this. Because I gotta drink a lot of water to do all this voice acting. But I want the Fanta for fun. Magdalena slept upon Maike's shoulder undisturbed, heedless of the cool breeze which caressed her cheeks and the rain which continued to fall. Her pale skin remained cold and unyielding during her slumber, and her cheeks refused to pinken at the wind's behest. All the while, as she slept, Maike watched her, her fingers curled about the handle of her parasol. As they sat there, their bodies pressed close, Maike found herself wishing they could stay as they were, time slowing, then stopping for good. Time did not stop, however, and Magdalena eventually awoke some half an hour hence. Girl, Maike, you are so in love, queen. I don't know how to tell you this, girl. This is not a normal way to think of your captor. Not a normal way to think of most people. You are so in love. Oh, she's so in love, I can't wait for her to realize. She did not speak of what had happened after drawing away from Maike, but she did suggest, after stretching, that they return to her home. The delights of her garden had been exhausted, and it was still raining. Magdalena had not wanted to remain outdoors when the weather was so foul. Maike had no words of complaint to offer, so she and Magdalena rose. Magdalena put her hat upon her head anew, and the two once again entered her vast, dilapidated home. God, they're so pretty. Here we are, home sweet home. Magdalena announces to the cavernous room full of decades' worth of undisturbed dust and wrinkled her nose. That's what I would like to call it, at least. But it really isn't much to look at. I am always struck when I see this place in the sun's light by just how run down it is. It's a wonder I haven't contracted a cough having lived here for so long. I suppose we vampires are a hardy sort, though we do worry about you. The dust isn't I can't talk. The dust isn't irritating your eyes, is it? I'll be fine. Maike reassured Magdalena, though, in all honesty, her eyes were beginning to water. The air smelled fetid, and each inhalation made her nostrils, not to mention the back of her throat, tingle. She could taste the dust upon her tongue, so thick it turned her stomach. Girl, don't lie! What the fuck? She had almost begun to acquaint herself with the general decay of Magdalena's home, having lived among it for so long, but the few hours she had spent outdoors had undone all her familiarity with her surroundings. Magdalena's abode felt strange and inhospitable once more. In part, Michaelena. Whoa! Maike, I suppose, because it was. Humans weren't supposed to live like this, in unloved homes choked with old age and their own neglect. But Magdalena wasn't a human. Humans' needs did not apply to her, not when her own desires were so very unusual. Maike had learned during her walk that Magdalena did need to sleep, however, a fact which made her seem more personable. In some ways, she mightn't have been so very dissimilar to a human after all.
So, are you feeling all right? Your face is very pale.
My face is always pale. It comes with the territory. I have no blood of my own, you know, not like you. Okay, so wait, that's interesting. So she doesn't have blood of her own in her as a vampire, because that's what I expected, because vampires are supposed to know. So what the fuck are the bite marks? They can't still be left there if they're, like, bruising the way they are, you know? Like, they seem so new. What the fuck is up? I'm so fascinated. I couldn't work up a hearty blush even if I tried.
I know that much, but your under eyes are still very dark.
Point out all my imperfections, why don't you? You've a way of making a girl feel rather exposed, Maike. I'm almost embarrassed.
I didn't mean to embarrass you. I was only...
concerned, I know. You really are too nice for your own good. I doubt many other women would care for the welfare of their captors half so much. But you are not, as I've since gathered, a typical woman. That you would risk your own life for your maid is remarkable in and of itself.
I'm not so special, really.
I disagree. I've lived for a very long time, and I don't believe I've met anybody quite like you before. Not that I've been in the habit of receiving guests during the last century, I suppose. I doubt my compliments are worth all that much, given my limited frame of reference. You may disregard them. You may disregard them if you like, but I mean what I said. I don't tell lies.
Why then, Maike longed to ask, did you not tell me about those marks on your arm? Why did you say it was nothing when it was clearly something? What are you hiding?
Maike stared at Magdalena, but found no immediate answers to her queries. It seemed that Magdalena's wounds would remain a mystery. Would Magdalena ever trust her enough to be fully honest? Would Maike succumb to blood loss before that happened? That was an unpleasant thought. It was in a dour mood that Maike crossed the entrance hall, her footsteps echoing, and ascended the stairs. All of a sudden, she, too, felt awfully exhausted. Meike took the stairs slowly, Magdalena close by. She gave the banisters a wide berth, for they were so covered with dust, and instead kept her arms straight, hanging at her sides like a soldier's. The grand staircase had so many steps, an unnecessary number, or so it seemed to Meike. It was no small difficulty navigating them. Meike continued on, determined, placing one foot after another, but she felt unsteady. Magdalena, sensing Meike's exhaustion, surveyed her with some concern. "And you asked whether I was all right. You seem positively dead on your feet. Are you sure you would not care for my assistance now, my lady?"
I'll be fine.
Meike said vaguely as Magdalena proffered her arm, but this time Magdalena refused to take no for an answer. Don't give me that. I won't have you slipping and tumbling to the ground, not down a staircase like this. Why, you could break your neck.
It would be a quick way to go, if nothing else.
Let's not be macabre about it, Meike. It doesn't suit you.
Would you rather I smile?
That was what Meike's mother had always demanded of her. That might be asking too much, I fear, but I would rather see you all in one piece, yes.
For a vampire, you're awfully considerate.
I've got to take good care of my guests, haven't I?
Or your prey.
Those two states are not mutually exclusive. Magdalena spoke lightly, but Meike thought she could see a flicker of hurt passing across Magdalena's face. Her remark must have nettled her. There. Magdalena looped her arm through Meike's, yay! Cinching their bodies together like two entwined flower stems. Oh, that's so pretty! They describe such simple things in such beautiful ways. Now you're less likely to take a spill as we ascend the stairs.
And if I do, I would drag you down after me.
Plotting my demise, are you? I admire your brazenness, but it will take more than that to best me.
What of the creature that bit you? Meike wished to ask. Did that best you?
Meike did not ask, however. She feared further inquiry would only upset Magdalena, and she did not want to do that. Those two states are not mutually exclusive, kinky. Hi, hello, welcome. Magdalena might have been Meike's enemy, but she was also, paradoxically, her only ally. Meike had wanted to believe, still wanted to believe, in fact, that Magdalena cared for her. But her caring seemed a fleeting sort of thing, something which could be discarded when she required more blood, which she would. Hey, girl, no. She was really caring for you when she asked for the blood. She didn't want to do it. She kind of asked you to fucking live. Don't be mean. Meike turned these thoughts over in her head while slowly ascending the stairs, her arm entwined with Magdalena's. But a sound oh god, it was the scream again. Oh fuck, it was the scream again. That was really quiet, so I don't know if you guys heard it, but it was there. It was there again. But a sound soon startled her from her morose reverie, a sound she could recall hearing once before, when Magdalena first escorted her through the entrance hall to her new lodgings. It was the sound, though faint, of a scream. Meike's back stiffened, her body tensed against Magdalena's, and rather than push the other woman away, she held her closer still. With wide, alert eyes, Meike glanced around. Magdalena had attributed these noises to the wind when Meike had first heard them, but now Meike had always known, in fact, that this was a lie. The wind could not make noises such as this, and in any event, though it was a cold day, it was not blustery enough to procure such sounds. They must have emitted from a person's throat. But what horrors this person must have endured to scream like that remained a mystery.
Magdalena?
Doing good. What about you? I'm doing good. I'm having a fun time because I love this game. I love it so much. Meike looked at Magdalena anxiously, her eyes wide with curious fear.
What is that sound?
Magdalena, for her part, looked almost as fearful as Meike was. There was no surprise present upon her countenance, but Meike could see that she was gritting her teeth. Had Magdalena any blood in her body, it surely would have abandoned her upon hearing those screams. Sound is...
Don't say that it's nothing. It's not nothing. I just heard it again. Whoever is making those sounds must be in a lot of pain. Or else they must be very distressed.
And whoever said that it is a person making those sounds?
It must be! I can't think of what else would scream so fitfully. And no, I don't believe that it is the wind. Do you have any more prisoners locked away in this castle that you're not telling me about?
Believe me, Meike, you would be far happier believing it to be the wind. No good will come from prying into these affairs.
But I want to know!
I know you want to know. That is the problem with you. You want to know everything.
Well, I'm sorry, but I must keep some of my own...
Oh, fuck, wrong voice. fuck? I'm so, like, caught up in the moment that I keep reading their names wrong. Well, I'm sorry, but I must keep some of my own secrets. I've been alive for over a century and have an ample amount of time to accrue them. I doubt I'm alone in this. I'm sure you have some subjects you do not wish to speak of either. Magdalena's red-eyed gaze held Maike's, her irises hard and unflinching. Meike thought, as Magdalena stared, of Walter Gerhardt and their engagement and her feelings, or lack of, towards him, and she winced. Magdalena was right. She had plenty of secrets she didn't want to discuss either. There was a difference in the severity of their secrets, however. Walter was not, as far as Meike knew, currently incarcerated within the walls of this castle, screaming. If I'm to live in this castle, I ought to know who else is residing beneath its roof. No, you really oughtn't. It's better this way. But... Meike, please. This is my cross to bear, not yours. You've no need to worry about it. Appeasing the mistress is my... Huh? What? What's your job? Oh, I don't think she meant to say that. I do not think that was a word she meant to let slip. Oh, what? Huh? Oh my god. So yeah, Morris Reverie could totally be a VK band name. Huh? It's so funny to me whenever I'm in the middle of voice acting and trying to make sure it like comes off crew, and then I read the thing and I'm like, what? Huh? What? Meike, please. This is my cross to bear, not yours. You've no need to worry about it. Appeasing the mistress is my job. The mistress? Meike repeated this phrase, seemingly innocuous at first blush, yet containing it within a wealth of unspoken secrets. So there was somebody else residing in Magdalena's abode after all. Somebody Magdalena referred to as her mistress. That must mean that this mysterious person, this mysterious woman, held some degree of authority over Magdalena. What, though, could be more powerful than a vampire? Who was this mistress, and why had Meike never met her? Why was she screaming so, as though she was being tortured? What is going on, Magdalena? That is not such a complex question, at least. Magdalena smiled, but it was an ill-fitting smile which hung awkwardly on her lips, like a dress which had been taken in at the waist 2 inches too many. She must be hungry. She is awfully insistent like that. I was hoping to put this off, but it seems I will have to take more of your blood tonight after all. I had wanted to give you a brief reprieve from your duties, but it is not to be. I have duties of my own to attend to after all, and my mistress can be very exacting indeed. What? Oh my god! What? What? Huh? Oh my god! Oh my god! Now she's letting her blood... Oh my god. Meike sat upon the edge of her bed later that night, one arm extended at Magdalena's behest. It was the same arm she had extended to Magdalena the night prior, split with a thin scar like a garish piece of twine. Magdalena's finger had curled about the underside of Meike's arm to better hold it steady. In her free hand, the one which was not occupied with Meike, Magdalena held a knife, the blade sharp and silvery even in the weak, wispy moonlight which spilled through Meike's drawn curtains. Oh my god, she's saying it again! She's saying the thing again. Just hold still now. There's a good girl. I'll not take more blood than is needed. I can promise you that much. This will all be over in an instant. Meike knew Magdalena meant well, but part of her wished that her captive's fingers would slip and she would nick a major artery, which would douse her skirts in her sheets bright red. Magdalena's motions were well practiced, however, just as they had been the night before. Her gloved fingers did not wobble, though her resolve might have, as she introduced the blade to the inside of Meike's arm. I love your reactions, Kinley, so much. Meike shivered to feel the cold steel pressed against her flesh. Magdalena had not cut, not yet at least, but she could feel the edge of the blade and knew the pain it promised. She had endured that pain once before already. Had that not been enough? The anticipation was unnerving. Meike began to shiver. If you're going to do it, then can you please hurry? I cannot stand the waiting. My apologies. I had hoped to prepare you for it. But I suppose pain is not something one can really prepare for, not if they even have fair warning. I've seen hardier men than you cry at my heels. I never cared to be half so gentle with them. Whoa! Oh my god, Queen! Magdalena, I'll cry at your heels if you want, just saying! That's a very Serena line, by the way. I don't much want to do this myself, but... Well, never mind that. I will cut now. Hold your breath, and maybe close your eyes if you must. It might help. Meike began, yet was unable to finish. Magdalena, true to her word, had moved her hand, the blade once inert, now slicing into Meike's flesh. Magdalena scored the blade across the inside of Meike's arm, an inch beneath her previous incision. Pain flared up inside Meike in an instant, hot like the flames of hell. Fortunately for Meike, however, the incision was made quickly and cleanly. The blade retracted before Meike had a chance to truly register what had occurred. A bowl was soon placed beneath Meike's cut, into which Meike bled, rivulets of crimson trickling down her pale skin and into the basin beneath. Meike did not look at her cut. She could not bear to, but she could feel her life's blood oozing from her. It was incredible just how much the human body could bleed. The last cut Magdalena had inflicted had been thinner than a paper cut, yet it had bled profusely. Meike wondered whether this blood was meant for Magdalena, or whether she meant to give it to her mistress, the one who had cried earlier, who had been hungry. That must have been where Meike's blood had gone last night. Meike thought it odd that Magdalena had not partaken of her blood in a more direct manner. What was the point in possessing such sharp incisors if one did not use them? By this point, Meike felt as though she had bled for an indeterminate time. Her thoughts were beginning to slow, to become muddled. Her arms stung and she felt sick. She did not want to look at the slick secret. I'm really sorry. I was so focused. I'm really sorry. I read... Because half the time when I'm voicing this, right, I'm reading, like, at the same time as I'm voicing. Rather than reading ahead and then voicing the thing out, I'm just, like, reading as I go. And I read, like, Meike did not want to look at the slick, and I was like, huh? Oh, I'm too big of a killed. I'm sorry. I'm the worst. Anyway, don't mind me. She did not want to look at the slick, sleek crimson which daubed her skin, nor Magdalena's pale, pinched face. She was afraid that Magdalena would look just as upset, if not more so, than she did herself, and Meike couldn't bear that. She did not want to pity Magdalena now, not when she felt so enervated? I don't know what that word is. I think that should be enough. Meike heard a soft thud as the offertory bowl was set aside. Then she felt something soft and wet dab at the inside of her arm, against a cut which still continued to bleed. Magdalena must have been wiping her cut clean with a kerchief. Finally, Meike chanced to crack her eyes open. Her eyelashes fluttered as she surveyed Magdalena, the world once blurry, now sliding into focus, like a dial turned on a telescope. I'm sorry to do this to you, Meike. Not that my apologies mean very much, I suppose. It's not like anything I could say now could erase all I've done. Damn! Holy shit. Let me save again. I'm also gonna take a drink for a sec. I should probably eat one of my snacks. Sippy, sippy, sippy. Num, num, num. Oh my gosh. With Meike's blood having been collected, Magdalena soon took her leave. She tucked the bowl against her side, her slender fingers curled about it, then exited Meike's chamber, closing the door behind her with a thud. There was the familiar click of a lock, which seemed to echo inside Meike's skull, then silence. Meike was, once more, quite alone. Every single time I go crazy for this shot, dude. It's such an insane scene. This being the shot that they give every single time she's just laying in her bed thinking about the day is wild. Like, that. What the hell, dude? What the hell? They are after me. They do not want me to be okay. They want me to feel insane about this, frankly. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I'm gonna leave you guys looking at her for a sec while I open this, I need to eat something. I'm not leaving, by the way. That was misleading. I am eating some fruit, because I want a snack. Any of you guys like oranges? I got orange. Who wants an orange? I got gummy bears this time. I got an orange. This orange is dynaminormous. Dynamorphous. Dimorphous. Dynaminosaurus. Dimormus. Can't like no! It's okay, Kinley's saying what we're all thinking. Orange. I want to eat a snack, but I wanted to make sure that I wasn't eating candy because then it would make it harder to voice act, actually. So, fruit time. Orange. Num num num. Num num num. I love making my tail dance whenever I'm not doing anything in this model. One day, when I have live 2D, and also when I have like 3D stuff one day, I'm gonna make sure my tail is rigged like crazy so it can wiggle all around. Maybe I should make it like follow the mouse or something. That'd be quite silly. Look at it go. Boogie, boogie, boogie. Okay, there we go. I ate an orange. Left weary after the day's events and the inside of her arm still stinging, Meike lay down upon her bed and looked to the ceiling. Yeah, me too. This is, this is actually how I look when I lay down upon the bed and look at the ceiling. Trust, definitely. Yeah, when you're just girly things. A yawn forced its way from her parted lips, and her eyelids began to droop. Before she allowed sleep to claim her, however, she felt her thoughts turning to Magdalena. God, she's so pretty. She thought of the dark bruises beneath her eyes, from a lack of sleep, or so she had said, and the sickly pale pallor of her skin, white as leprosy. She thought of the violent red marks which ringed her wrist, which she had hurried to hide. She thought of the screaming she had heard while tearing in the entrance hall, and of the way Magdalena had flinched to hear it, and her reassurances, feeble though they were, that those screams were not for Meike to trouble herself over. Appeasing the mistress is supposed to be my job. Who was this mysterious mistress of whom Magdalena spoke? Meike knew not, but she must have been somebody with leverage over Magdalena, powerful enough that even a vampire would grovel before them. Meike turned over in her bed, the wooden bed frame creaking in protest, and trembled. At least now she could say for certain that she and Magdalena were not alone in this castle. There was another person sequestered away in one of the many rooms Meike had never before been in, Magdalena's mysterious mistress. It was somewhat satisfying to have her earlier suspicions proven right, but Meike did not feel any more at ease now than she had upon waking that morning. If anything, it was the exact opposite. How awful must Magdalena's mistress be if even Magdalena was afraid of her? Meike hardly dared to imagine it. If she allowed her imagination to run riot, as the roses in Magdalena's garden did, she feared she would never be able to sleep again. Gosh, there's such beautiful descriptions. Oh, okay, we finished Act 2! Act 3, The World in Monochrome. Oh. La-da-da-da, got you like you're hypnotized. La-da-da-da, got you, baby, now you're mine. You can help but look at me, only gonna let you see. Na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Monochrome, monochrome, boo-doo-doo-boo-doo-doo. Ay-ay-ay-ay, monochrome, monochrome, boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Ay-ay-ay-ay. Sorry, I had to. Wait, okay. Now that we're just about to start Act 3, I'm gonna go and pee quickly before we do that. I will be right back. While I'm gone, you guys, last one to say monochrome is the rotten egg, and then they have to go pee themselves. Okay, I'm back. I'm back from pissing LJ's pants. Sorry, LJ. You might want to get new pants. That's what happens when you're too slow. I hate to say it. Sorry, 1 second. I'm just checking something. Mingle, 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 mingle. 1 second. There's something really important. I suddenly got messaged. Ah. Okay, I'm back. There we go. Right. Act 3 time. Oh my gosh. I'm really curious how long this game is actually. I'm very fascinated. I'm really curious how it's gonna go from here. Because like we keep finding out new stuff, even when I imagine that we're gonna be like a decent chunk through it. I was honestly, when we first started streaming it, I wasn't sure if it was gonna it dropped. I wasn't sure if it was gonna be like a really short thing that I'd essentially end up doing as like a one-shot video, but this seems like something we'll get like at least like 3 streams out of rather than 1. Jesus Christ. Sunday eventually arrived after what seemed entirely too long, and with it came Henny's visit to St. Cecilia's to see Father how was it pronounced? Dvorak, yeah. Agnes accompanied Henny on this excursion, strolling beside her with a definite spring to her step. St. Cecilia's wasn't so far away from Walter Gerhardt's home, and the two women made it to the church's impressive stone edifice in good time. Once inside the building, both Agnes and Henny took a seat upon the pews to wait patiently for the sermon to begin. When the congregation was seated... Whoa! Huh? That is not how I expected him to look! If that's him. That is not what I expected. I think voice acting everything slows down the rate you get through it, so the average playtime's online don't apply to you. Yeah, well, to be fair, I didn't really have an average playtime from online either, because the game's so new, there wasn't really any that I could find, because everyone else is still in the middle of playing it. It's not that I thought it was going to be short based on finding it out. It's that I was like, I have no idea if it's going to be long or short, because I'm going into it entirely blind without even knowledge how long it was. And I was like, oh, I wonder if maybe this is going to end up being a really short one. Like a normal, like, you know, short visual novel, like a little one-shot thing. But anyway, whoa! Hello! You know, that's not what I expected. Yeah, he's kind of fucking slaying, I'm not gonna lie. He's serving! Huh? He's serving! Damn, bro! You're supposed to serve the Lord, not serve cunt! When the congregation was seated, a man took to the pulpit. He cut a tall, striking figure, dressed primarily in black, his arms and legs slender, and his hair dark and glossy. Oh my god, his design! The designs in this game are so good. I love this artist. I need to go follow her. Follow them. Even from a distance, Henny could tell he was a young man. His cheekbones high, his face... Ah! My mic is falling down! Why does my mic keep falling down? Oh, why is my mic stand being mean to me? It keeps falling! Please don't fall, Mike. I'm trying to voice into you, and you're very expensive. Even from a distance, Henny could tell he was a young man. His cheekbones high, his face devoid of wrinkles. He's the lead singer of Morose Reverie, yeah. Henny wasn't sure how old she would place him exactly, but she didn't think him to be much more than 25. Curious, she glanced at Agnes and murmured,
Is that Father Dvorak? Yes, that's right. Oh, I'm so glad he's here. I was worried he mightn't be, then our trip would be for nothing. This is quite the relief. But it's too early to ask him any questions. You'll have to wait until the sermon is over. He has such a way with words, though. His sermons are never a bit dull. I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Mistrustfully, oh my god, he's slaying! Down, dude! Go off, King! Mistrustfully, Henny glanced back at Father Dvorak. She was in too anxious of a state to think overly much about anything save rescuing Meike. Enjoying herself seemed a foreign concept to the young maid ever since she had fled from Magdalena's home. There would be time enough for fun later. Henny was doubtful that the priest would be able to aid her, as Agnes claimed. She had thought that he would be older. Truly capable men, the sort self-made business owners like Walter Gerhardt quoted, while smoking cigars in their studies. They often seemed to be in their 50s or 60s, with domed foreheads and arched brows. Henny knew little about capable men, but she knew this, having seen the plaster busts of Seneca and Aristotle upon Walter's desks. Father Dvorak seemed little more than a boy when compared to those ancient philosophers, but this was not enough to make Henny discard his potential help outright. Cautiously intrigued by what the father might have to say, Henny settled upon the pew to listen. She sat in silence as Father Dvorak spoke, and as he did so, Henny felt his voice wash over her. It was, after all, as Agnes had said, Father Dvorak's voice was a sonorous one, which seemed to fill the church despite not being overly loud, sweet as milk and honey, and just as enticing. As Father Dvorak spoke, his eyes swept across the assembled faces of his congregation. They were very dark eyes, Henny noticed, a rich brown which was soulful and serious. The father's gaze seemed to settle, midway during a sermon, upon Henny. It seemed as though he was looking straight through her, divining all her anxieties, which made Henny fluster. Suddenly shy, she averted her gaze to look at her interwoven fingers writhing in her lap. Agnes had been right about his oratory gifts, but what of his ability to help Meike? That was more important than his ability to espouse at length about God and his many miracles. I am fascinated by this guy. They're describing him like he's like otherworldly beautiful and amazing. What the fuck? What the hell? Huh? What the fuck? We're gonna hear him do a German accent? Well, no. Mind you, everyone in this game is German. He's the one who's not German. His name is in Czech. All of the other characters are German names, and I've just been doing the British because the game is written in English, and I do not want to try and do terrible German accents for this entire thing, so I will continue probably not doing an accent. I'll try and make them sound unique, though. Henny shifted in her seat as the sermon drew to its close, seized by an uncomfortable anxiety. She had tried not to raise her hopes overly much in the night prior, for fear of being disappointed, but she could no longer contain herself. Her anticipation ran deep, just like the ocean. If he could not aid her, who could? Henny knew of nobody else to turn to. This Father Dvorak, young as he was the only hope she had left. The sermon came to a close after what seemed both too short and too long a time, and with it came a general flurry of activity as the congregation began to stand en masse. Most walked to the church's exit without further preamble, while others paused by the pews of their neighbors to share gossip about the latest goings-on in their home. Yet a few more stragglers stayed behind to offer their thanks to Father Dvorak, who responded with a modest smile. Henny was among these stragglers, though self-consciously she hung back. Doubts had begun to creep up on her, much like shadows. She wanted to speak to Father Dvorak, but now she had an opportunity she felt afraid to. She was anxious that all her hopes would be dashed once and for all, and she would be left with no further recourse to aid Meike. But Henny was a practical woman, and she knew she would accomplish nothing by dithering endlessly. The last of the finely dressed women complimenting the priest has passed, and the church was almost emptied. Henny stood there still, at her pew, her fingers twisted together at her front. Her eyes met Father Dvorak's, who looked at her in turn, his head tilted expectantly. It was now or never. Henny would not have been able to forgive herself if she had squandered this chance Agnes had given her.
It'll be all right, Henrika, Agnes prompted her with a small smile. I won't hang around for you. I wouldn't want to eavesdrop, but I'll be supporting you from afar. Please tell me how everything goes later. I'm eager to hear what Father Dvorak has to say. I hope you can be of help. Me too, Agnes. And thank you for suggesting his services to me. I really do appreciate it. Anytime. I'd do anything to help a friend.
Beaming brightly, Agnes departed, leaving Henny and Father Dvorak alone. Oh, she's so sweet! They're friends now! They're besties! We're gonna have soft tacos later. Henny inhaled, steeling her nerves, then took a step forth. The sound of her footsteps against St. Cecilia's stone floor sounded improbably loud, and her breath caught in her throat. He's so beautiful! Why is he serving so much?
Father Dvorak.
Henny addressed the man, once she was a few paces away from him, both hands clasped at her front. Yes? Father Dvorak responded in turn, his brown eyes softening as he saw Henny approach. Is there something you would like to ask me? I'm always open for dispensing with advice, particularly if it's a serious issue, which this seems to be. I'm really not sure how I want to do his voice, because I was going to do a whole different texture, but then they said it was like smooth and soft like honey. Your expression is awfully grim. Oh, is it? I didn't know. I'm sorry for intruding. I've never been to this parish before and we've never met. You're not under any obligation to help me, but... No, that isn't true. Gently, the father reprimanded Henny, his cheeks dimpling with his boyish smile. Oh, he's so pretty! He's so pretty! As a priest, it's my duty to help everybody, regardless of where they might come from. Your birthplace is of no relevance at all to me. I will listen to you regardless, though I would like to know your name first. That would make it easier for us to converse, I think. Yes. My name is Henrika. I don't come from Augsburg, but from a smaller town a little ways away. I used to work from the von Essen family, and it's on their account that I've come today, Father. Make him sound fruity as fuck, that's what I'm going for. So you are Frau Henrika, then. I see. And it seems that you're in a spot of bother? Oh, yes, well... I'm not the one in the bother, really. I'm fine, as you should be able to see. It's my mistress who's in real peril. I tried to talk about it to her fiancé earlier. That would be her Gerhard. But he didn't seem to grasp how serious it was. He's not lifted so much as a finger to help Meike, though she was to be his wife. That's why I came to see you. I had no other choice. I mean, your vampire girl's getting jealous how you're simping over him. I'm sure she'll be fine. I don't think anybody else in Augsburg would believe me. Dear me. This does sound like quite the complicated situation you found yourself in. But no matter. I shall listen regardless. I shall do my best to advise you. I cannot promise I will have an answer for all your problems, but I will try. First, however, would you care to sit down? You are shaking. Oh, yes, thank you. Henny took a seat upon one of the pews as instructed, while Father Dvorak did the same. Facing her, the priest then said, You may continue. But before that, you might do better to address me as... Oh, is that pronounced Johann? I'm assuming it's not Johann. Let me double check. Yeah, Johann pronunciation. Okay, it is the Johann. But before that, you might do better to address me as Johann rather than Father. It's less formal and I find it more conducive to putting people at ease. Is Johann your name? Father Dvorak, Johann rather, nodded. It's easier for more people to get their tongue around than Dvorak. I know some people have trouble with it. Right, thank you, Father. I mean, Johann. What I want to talk about might sound ridiculous, but believe me, it is no tall tale. I wouldn't have come here on the day of the Lord if it was. I don't hold with wasting people's times, no matter what her good heart might think. Everything I'm about to tell you is the truth, honest to God. I'll swear to it even in the house of the Lord. I saw it all with my own 2 eyes. My mistress, my Meike, she's been abducted by a vampire! Silence fell, following... I like his expression so much. His eyes are so gorgeous. I really love how they draw these eyes. Sorry, important moment. Silence fell following Henny's improbable, unbelievable exclamation. The silence seemed to weigh thick inside St. Cecilia's, even thicker than the stone columns which supported his vaulted ceilings. Henny stared at her interwoven fingers, which rested upon her lap. Oh god, the pulse in my ears. I'm so nervous. Please don't think she's crazy. Please don't fuck her up. Which rested upon her lap, unable to meet Johann's gaze. She was afraid, if she lifted her head, she would see upon this youthful face the same derision with which Walter had regarded her in his study. If she saw scorn in Johann's gaze, she feared all her hopes would wither and die. It was to Henny's immense relief, therefore, that when Johann did break the silence, it was not to admonish her. He sounded bemused more than anything when he said, A vampire, you say? Yes, yes, that's right. There's a vampire that lives in the forest, Father. I mean, Johann, and she kidnapped poor Meike. I know it sounds batty, balmy even, but I'm not making it up, I swear. Eckerhard threatened to send me to an asylum for telling tall tales, but I never would. My mother brought me up better than that. Yes, I believe you. You don't strike me as the insincere sort, and I've no desire to cast any aspersions upon your mother's character. I've never met the woman, but I imagine she must be a goodly sort to raise so astute a daughter. Now, what can you tell me about this vampire? What was she like? When did this all happen, and how did you and your unfortunate mistress meet her? Father! Let's go! Somebody believes her! Somebody believes her! Finally! Oh my god, finally! Finally! Somebody believes her! I'm so happy! Somebody's actually hearing her out! I was praying for this! Oh my god! Oh my god! Tears did begin to sting her eyes. She was so very touched, but she wiped them hastily away. Johann did not seem to think of her in need of immediate incarceration, but that might change as she began to sob like a hysterical wrench. Is anyone else having composed? Yeah, I have noticed. He's very ghostly looking. He's really fascinating. I'm so curious about this guy, especially this guy being a priest of all things. It was with an immense amount of self-control that Henny inhaled, then launched into her tale. She told Johann about her journey through the forest with the von Essen family, and how their carriage had been attacked by bandits. She told him of Lord and Lady von Essen's untimely deaths, and how she'd been able to rescue Meike before the bandits could finish her off too. She told Johann how she had run through the forest, Meike in tow, as the fog swirled about them, chilling her ankles and sticking her skirts to her legs. She told him that Meike had fallen and knocked herself unconscious, and she had feared they would be done for. Unable to run away without her mistress, Henny had tarried while the bandits approached, fearing the worst. She had expected to be disposed of quickly with a knife through the ribs, but the killing blow had not come. A strange, willowy woman, Magdalena, Henny now knew her as, had stepped forth from the fog, which swirled about her, and she had soon dispatched these brigands. Her strength had far outstripped that of an ordinary woman, as had her speed. She had decapitated 3 men, then faced down the 4th, all without pausing. The sheer shock of this had overwhelmed Henny, and she herself had shortly passed out. I love that we're going through... I thought it was gonna be like, she told her about this, she told him about this, but we're going through the whole thing, but that's okay. That works for anyone who missed, a bunch of the first stream. That tormentor. Johann listened to all this quietly, and once Henny had finished with her address, sat back, his expression inscrutable. That does sound like quite the alarming turn of events. I do not blame you for being so very shaken. It is admirable that you were able to recount what happened to me in so lucid a manner. I commend your dedication to your mistress and your desire to aid her. The pair of you must be awfully close. Yes, we are. Meike is my dearest friend. I've known her since we were both little, and she means the world to me. She's much, much more than my mistress. I've been meaning to find a way to save her for the last 2 weeks, but I've not made any progress. I can't find anyone who will listen to me. And that, I presume, is why you came to me? It is, yes. I was told that you would listen to any problem, no matter what it might be. But if I'm being honest, I'm not sure how you can help. I saw what that monster is capable of. She's no ordinary human. She cut down 3 fully grown men in only a handful of seconds. It does sound unbelievable, you are correct. But you've no need to fret about that. I have no qualms in believing that strange, powerful beings might exist, hidden in the shadows that few have borne witness to. Then, you don't think I'm lying? If I did, I would surely be a happier man. But no, I do not. I can believe your words readily. I would never discount the word of a woman in need. As for your other concern, however... Johann's smile failed him. Frowning now, he recrossed his legs, then sighed. That is a more thorny one. Though I do believe you, I doubt I would be able to confront a creature such as this on my own. I am only a man myself, not a great one either. There is little I can feasibly do on my own. So it's rather fortunate that I don't operate on my own. Huh? 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 I have a colleague who I think may be of some use to you, Frau Henrike. She should be able to help, should your plight pique her interest, but she isn't present at the moment. If you wish for an audience with her, you will need to return to this church later tonight, when the sun has set. Do you think you can do that?
Oh, yeah, yes, of course I can. If you can help my Meike, you or your colleague, then I'll be more than willing to see you again. I might have to wait until midnight to slip out, but I'll be here as soon as I can. You have my word. Johann spoke as though Henny had a choice in the matter, but Henny knew she did not. Johann's offer of help, tenuous though it was all Henny had to grasp. Fascinating. I am so curious about this guy. What the fuck is his deal? In the best way. What the fuck is his deal? Huh? Huh? I'm so... Huh? What the fuck? Sorry, I'm just like, I'm so dumb. Whoa, ooh, he's so fascinating. I don't trust him Layla and I with the world and vampires, but yeah, I'm really curious about what his, like, his friend, he specified she as well. It sounds like his friend is a vampire. I'm very curious about that. Yeah, he is sus, but also he seems helpful at the same time, so I'm just like, I'm so curious. That's the only way I can put it. I'm so... Huh? Her meeting with Johann concluded, Henny returned to Walter Gerhardt's home, whereat she sought to keep both her mind and her body occupied. Though Sunday was, supposedly, a day of rest, this held true only in the mornings for Walter Gerhardt's maids. After midday, they were expected to resume their old routine, wiping down banisters, sweeping floors, polishing the silverware, and a myriad of other tasks which kept every moment occupied. The other maids murmured... Sorry for the burp. The other maids murmured mutinously to themselves as they attended their chores, their malcontent spearheaded by her mind, but Henny welcomed the work. She was so desperate for a distraction that even Gertrude's sour expression was welcome. It served as a reprieve from her own anxious thoughts, all of which were centered around Meike. Would Johann really be able to help her? It was strange he had asked her to visit him later in the day, but Henny supposed he must have his reasons. She would find out soon enough, she supposed, during her second visit to St. Cecilia's. It was hours until the sun would set, however, and so, until then, Henny kept herself busy. She deflected Agnes's curious questions about her meeting with Johann. I'll explain later, and kept her head down, impervious to Hermione's razor-sharp glares and her occasional whispers of...
Why is she still here, anyway? She isn't one of us. She doesn't belong here, and she's not trying to belong here either. She never talks to any of us except dozy old Agnes, and what she sees in her is a mystery. I can't stand the way she holds herself, as though she's so much better than the rest of us. Who does she think she is? The Queen of Sheba? She might have worked in a fancy household once, but she's nothing more than a commoner. Oh, how cruel she is. She might be whispering, but it's clear she wants you to hear it. She might be pretty, but beneath that face, she's nothing more than a monster.
Agnes is so sweet. I love her. She can't even say a bad enough word to be mad at her.
Do you really think so?
Yes, she's so wicked it makes my blood boil. I don't know how you can stand it, Henrika.
Ha, I've my ways. Henny replied vaguely while wiping down the many windows and laid into the hallways. She might be an ill-tempered creature, but so are a lot of people, especially pretty ones. I'm prepared to bet that her mind was complimented one too many times when she was a youngster, and it's inflated her sense of self-worth beyond all reasonable measure. I don't think she's evil, though, and she's certainly no monster. Hermione was no Magdalena, white of limb and red of eye, with incisors sharp enough to break through bones. Henny did not care for Hermione, but she would not deny that she was a human. Even the bandits who had murdered Lord and Lady von Essen had been humans, albeit immoral ones. Magdalena, meanwhile, was something else altogether.
Well, maybe you're right. I do think she's a bully, though. Try though I might, I just can't bring myself to like her.
I think that's fair. I don't like the pretty miss very much myself, but I've suffered worse things than her silly insults. They don't really bother me. This was true, too. Henny had long since learned that. Though Hermione talked a lot, none of the things she said were worth listening to. It was all silly gossip, really. Hermione treated everybody poorly, even the sycophantic scullery maids who buzzed about her, believing that they were friends. Hermione, in all her petty cruelty, seemed not the sort of person who was capable of having friends. She had only acolytes and acquaintances. She's definitely the kind of person who's physically incapable of swearing. Yeah, exactly. She's like, what the... Once more, Henny wondered why Walter Gerhardt put up with her. But that, she supposed, was largely irrelevant. She does remind me of Cerise, yeah. Hermione spent that Sunday flouncing about and flipping her hair over her shoulders, as opposed to doing any real work, which eventually earned her Gertrude's ire.
Nosy old hag.
Hermione cursed after receiving a stern talking to from the housekeeper over her conduct.
What's her problem? I swear she has something against me, and I've never even done anything to her.
Oh god. She reminds me of those kind of students you get in like high school, secondary school here, but like in secondary or high school that will like do some they'll like yap throughout an entire fucking lesson, disturb the whole class and do stupid shit and just be talking with their friends really loud, and the teacher is like, dude, can you be quiet or you're leaving this class? And they're like, what the heck is, you're literally picking on me. You're always picking on me. I didn't even do anything. I wasn't even talking. I wasn't even talking, miss. Why are you always picking on me? Oh, whoa! Oh, I didn't expect her to swear. I guess that makes sense.
She's such a bitch.
Henny, for her part, rather enjoyed seeing Hermione get scolded, not just because she felt Hermione deserved it, which she did. The fracas between Hermione and Gertrude had afforded Henny an opportunity to slip a ring of keys from Gertrude's pocket. Oh, big brain, go off, girl. Keys which would be useful when she would have to leave later that night. She only hoped Gertrude would not spy they were missing, not until she successfully met with Johann. That would scupper her plans. Henny attended to her chores with bated breath, waiting for Gertrude to bear upon them, nostrils flared, spitting queries about the thief in their midst. To her immense relief, however, nothing happened. The day wore on without further event, and eventually the sun began to sink beneath the horizon. The working day thus finished, the maids were dismissed by Gertrude, and they soon retreated to the servants' quarters. A few of the maids played a game of cards among themselves, while another busied herself with some knitting. It's such a common occurrence with those kids, right? You know what I mean. You know exactly the type of person. They'll do some insane shit, and then they get told off, and they're like, what? I literally wasn't doing anything. And it's like, dude, it would be easier if you just said okay. Oh wait, I read that. Agnes, meanwhile, stole to Henny's side and softly said,
So, now will you tell me what happened? What did Father Dvorak say?
He didn't say much at all, really. Other than that, he was sorry for my plight. We didn't decide on any particular plan of action, but he did ask me to come back to the church tonight, so as we can talk more properly.
Properly?
Agnes's brow furrowed.
Why couldn't you talk earlier?
He said he had an acquaintance he wanted me to meet who'd only be around later. Apparently, she's the one who'll be able to help me.
An acquaintance, is it?
She must be an odd sort of acquaintance, if she'll only speak to people after sundown, but I trust Father Dvorak. If he says she can help you, then surely she must. He's not the sort to send people out on wild goose chases.
Oh, I certainly hope not. Henny sighed dolorously. Whoa, so much new vocabulary through this game. Then looked out the window at Walter's lushly sprawling garden and the street beyond it. The sun had already sunk below the horizon, and the roofs of the houses looked very dark indeed, almost sinister.
I've a lot of expectations riding upon tonight's visit with your favourite father, if he lets me down after all this.
I'm sure he won't. You should have more faith, and so will I. I'll be wishing you well. Not that my wishes mean too much, I suppose. I know I'm just a stupid girl, like Hermione says, but I really do want the best for you.
I know you do, and don't you fuss too much about what Hermione says. I know I don't.
Nothing she says is worth much. How could it be when her head is emptier than a hot air balloon? Agnes started to giggle at this, which alerted Hermione's attention. She broke off mid-complaint, the words, "that bitch," still stapled to her lips, and glowered at the two women stood by the window. Is she also a member? I think so, and I'm really scared about that. I'm really very scared.
And what, might I ask, is so very funny? Would you mind sharing with the rest of us?
It's nothing really, Hermione, I'm sorry.
If it really was nothing, you wouldn't have been laughing. And why are you apologizing? You haven't been telling tales on me to our new friend, have you, Agnes?
No, I would never.
I hope for your sake that you wouldn't. It would be very silly to make an enemy out of me. If I wanted to, I could easily make your life living hell. Please don't try my patience.
I won't, I promise.
Very good. Keep out of mischief now. You too, Henrietta. I don't know what you two are up to, always ducking your heads together and murmuring, but I don't like it. If you keep this up, I'll tell Helga Hart about you, and you'll be out in your ear quicker than blinking. I don't think Helga Hart needs an excuse to throw me out of his home. He's been chomping at the bit already. Well, I agree with you on that. You shouldn't even be here. Why Helga Hart lets you stay with us is a mystery. If you're pretty, I could at least understand.
Oh, God. Oh, she is not a girl's girl. I mean, I knew that, but like, Jesus Christ.
If you're pretty, I could at least understand it. But that can be further from the truth. You're so plain I can't imagine any man ever wanting you. Your brush with death is your only claim to fame, and the shock of that will soon wear off. When it does, you can bet you won't be here much longer. Suits me just fine. I don't intend to stay here much longer. Henny turned her back on Hermione, and Hermione turned her back on Henny, and the unease which had brewed between them settled, for the time being at least. Sighing, Henny leant her elbows upon the windowsill and looked out at the sky. She'd no desire to be drawn further into Hermione's pettiness. What did Hermione matter when Meike was still shut away in Magdalena's abode, suffering? So... Agnes spoke softly so as not to be overheard once again by the malcontented Hermione. Are you going to meet Father Dvorak later? Of course, I've got to hear him out at least, and I'm interested in this assistant of his. Me too. I'd no idea he even had an assistant. You might have some trouble slipping out undetected, though. The doors are all locked at sundown, and only the most senior staff members have keys. I thought that might be the case, but not to worry. And he smiled as she patted her pocket, feeling grooves of Gertrude's keychain through the fabric of her skirt. I should be fine. I hope so, Henrika. Oh, do take care of yourself. Don't get caught when you're sneaking out, and don't get lost on your way to the church, and... Don't speak to any strange men. And he chuckled. Oh no, don't fret. I'll head straight to the church once the bell tolls for midnight, and I'll head straight back once I finish with Father Dvorak.
Thank you, Serena and Crimson, for beating her up.
I'll be just fine, so don't wait up for me. There's yet more work to be done tomorrow, and Hermione will lay into you if you stay awake late. Oh, she always lays into me. Not that she has much room to talk. She's such a hypocrite. Yes, I had noticed. Try not to pay her too much heed. It's hard not to when she talks so much, but that shouldn't be too hard tonight, at least. Rather than worry about her, I'll be busy thinking of you. I can pray for you too, if you like, if you think it would help.
Agnes. Oh, she's so sweet. I love their relationship. I can't actually tell how old Agnes is because she keeps saying that she's young, but then they were also doing that about like Magdalena earlier based on how she looked. So if they are of an appropriate age with each other, then they're girlfriends in my head. If they're not, then I love their friendship. She's so sweet. Henny smiled, touched anew by the young girl's concern. Nobody in Walter Gerhardt's residence seemed to care overly much about Henny or about her missing mistress except for Agnes. Henny was glad she had found at least one ally in Walter's inhospitable household. It was one ally more than she had expected, and it made her feel less alone. Thank you. You're very sweet. The hour wore on, and the maids began to tire. Yawns spread between them as they brushed their hair and played cards. Yawns which were as contagious as any illness. They said she looked 16. Did they? Okay, if she looks 16, then I like their friendship. Hermione rose from her bed, then stripped herself of her maid's attire and into her nightgown, which prompted a further flurry of undressing. Henny, too, changed into her nightgown and slipped away beneath her covers. She did not want any of her fellow maids, particularly the eagle-eyed Hermione, guessing at her plans. Oh, she's so cute! I love Henny! She's so cute, she's so pretty. She lay abed, curled upon her side, and waited for what seemed like an interminable time, until the room was full of snoring. Once Henny was sure everybody was fast asleep, she rose, then changed once more into her maid's dress, it being the only outfit she had. She changed quickly, under the cover of darkness, fearful of making a sound. Her heart thumped all the while, and Gertrude's key sat heavy in her pocket, a physical manifestation of her crimes. She would be in a lot of trouble if her thievery was discovered. She would be put in the stocks at the very least, and perhaps imprisoned, either in a gaol or an asylum, as Walter had threatened. But Henny knew she couldn't let such threats unsettle her. It was too late to fuss about returning the key to its rightful owner. She had it, and with it she had a way of escaping Walter Gerhardt's home. She could not afford to miss her appointment with Johann in the church. Henny was still doubtful whether he could really help her, but he was the only lead she had. It was either him or nothing. Newly dressed, Henny paused at Agnes's bed. To Henny's surprise, Agnes was still awake. Her eyelids fluttered, and in the dark she murmured, Good luck out there, Henrika. Thank you very much. Remember my earlier warning. You don't need to wait up for me. You young girls need your beauty sleep. Okay, she definitely is a child then. Yeah, I love their friendship then. You young girls need your beauty sleep. And you don't need to keep calling me Henrika either. I've always found it way too formal. Henny is fine. Alright then, Henny. Stay safe. I will. I always do. Surviving is one of my talents. So saying, Henny slipped from the servants' quarters. Oh, it's jail. The old. Oh, really? That's interesting. I didn't know that. Huh. So it was just jail? Huh. She shut the door soundlessly behind her without giving the room a backward glance, not even to wave Agnes goodbye. Now her thoughts were filled with nothing but Meike. Henny crept down the stairs, then crossed the narrow servants' hallway to the kitchen. Her footsteps sounded uncomfortably loud in the silence, but she encountered nobody during her trek, to her relief. She was quite alone. Henny eventually made it to the back door, where deliveries were made. She thought it'd be better to quit the house here, where it was less likely she would be uncovered by any passers-by out during a late-night stroll. Henny drew the pilfered keyring from her pocket with trembling fingers, then inserted a key into the hole. She tried to turn it, but was soon met with resistance. The door refused to budge. Oh god, I'm stressed too now, dude. I'm so... Please let this go well. She must have selected the wrong key from the chain. Henny clicked her tongue, then tried another key. This too refused to turn in the lock, as did the next, and the next, and the next. Each key Henny tried resulted in further failure, which made her imagination race. What if the keychain she had swiped from Gertrude's pocket was the wrong one? There were many keys on the chain, all heavy, chunky pieces made from iron, but there was no guarantee any of them led outside. Cold, hard panic now began to settle inside the pit of Henny's stomach. Her palms sweaty, Henny tried another key, the 8th if she had been keeping count, which she hadn't. She turned the key in the lock, expecting nothing but... Oh! Oh, okay! Oh, okay, God, Jesus Christ. This key, unlike the rest, did turn, and smoothly too, like butter. The lock clicked and the door swung open, cool air rushing forth to meet Henny like an old friend. Thanking both her lucky stars and her deft fingers, Henny stepped out into the street. She closed the back door behind her, locking it, then set out into the night. Augsburg's streets were still unfamiliar to Henny, but she remembered the way to St. Cecilia's. She had ingrained it into her consciousness during her trek there earlier that morning with Agnes, lest she should be required to return. Henny had not imagined that Johann would ask her to come back so soon. Or so late, she supposed, as she glanced up at the moon. The moon was not yet full, but soon it would be. It hung above the roofs of all the fine houses, lighting their chimney stacks and the wrought iron railings which fenced in their fine gardens. Henny hurried on, her footsteps echoing about the streets. She prayed as she walked that she did not run into anybody. Not that she knew many people in Augsburg. The city was strange to her, the people even more so. The wind brushed against Henny's exposed cheeks and her fingers, so she shivered. It was early autumn, but it was uncommonly cold for it. It seemed the winter, when it arrived, would be frigid. Henny had thought little of the coming months, however, being so steeped in thoughts of the past. How could she plan for the future when she knew not how Meike was? Henny's heart beat in tandem with each footstep against the cobbles, and with each monotonous strike of her heels, she thought of Meike. Please let it not be too late. Please, God, I'm begging you. Let me find my Meike. If we can be reunited, I'll ask of nothing more from you, not for as long as I live. It was fortunate for Henny's nerves, which now were stretched to their breaking point, that St. Cecilia's was not so very far from Walter's home. She arrived there in under 10 minutes, though it felt far longer. Henny had been so entrenched in her anxious musings that time itself seemed to slow to a trickle, Henny's every footstep far too slow despite her hurried gait. The stained glass windows of the church were dark when Henny approached it, and the imposing wooden door was tightly shut. At a glance, it seemed to be closed, even to the most godly of its congregation, the priest within a bed. Henny hoped that this was all subterfuge, and Johann had not forgotten their promise. Henny approached the wooden doors with faltering steps, more anxious than she had been during her flight from Walter's home, and raised her fist. It was with cautious eyes she glanced about, searching the streets for any signs of life, but she found nobody. The streets were not wholly quiet. Henny could hear the sounds of drunken revelry from a nearby tavern, but the street upon which St. Cecilia stood was abandoned, the shops all closed, and the lights in their windows extinguished. The breeze nudged Henny's arm as though spurring her onwards. She looked up to the wooden door which towered before her, as though to test her. She swallowed, tasting the cold air in her tongue. Then she knocked. Henny knocked hesitantly, fearful of awaking the people in the neighbouring houses. Unfortunately for her, however, the sound of her knocking seemed much too loud, almost as loud as the erratic beating of her heart. Henny waited fitfully, shifting from foot to foot, yet heard no noise within the church. Was Johann not there? Had he forgotten about her? Perhaps he had simply fallen asleep while waiting, or maybe he had not heard her. Henny chanced another series of knocks, more loudly this time. She rapped and rapped until her knuckles felt sore, throwing caution to the wind until... Frau Henrika, so you did come back. I was beginning to wonder. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude, you can't make me panic like that. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. The door opened with a low groan, and there stood Johann, illuminated by a sliver of one candlelight, which burned in the church behind him. He looked much as he had during Henny's initial meeting of the man, though Henny thought he was taller than she had recalled. Johann's neat dark hair was parted at the front, revealing a high forehead which spoke of learning, and his brown eyes were soft and gentle. You kept me waiting such a long while. I worried you might have forgotten our arrangement. Oh, is that what the girl's called? Heide Marie, I'm assuming. Heide Marie was beginning to nag me about it, but not that that's anything new. She teases every chance she gets, wicked creature that she is. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to keep you. It took a while before I was able to slip away. I don't think the other maids would care to know that I'd gone off for a midnight stroll. It will hurt her heart. Ah, yes, I understand. We all have our own circumstances. I apologize if I put you in a tight spot. It's no problem. I imagine you've a good reason for wanting to meet me so late, no matter how inconvenient it is. Now, who's this, Heide Marie you spoke of? Is she your assistant? Oh, yes, that's right. She's here now to say hello to you. Though, I think she'll be rather cross that I took the wind from her sails. Knowing her, she would have wanted me to introduce herself. She's really very... Oh, I'm scared! I'm scared! I don't know what kind of voice to give this lady, because I haven't seen her yet. Johann, have you quite finished talking yet? I'm getting bored. It's rude to keep a lady waiting, you know. Ah, yes, my apologies. Do come away from the door, Frau Henrika. It's freezing tonight. I'd hate for you to catch your death of cold. Come and warm yourself. You can meet Heide Marie while you're at it, and then you may tell her all you've told me. I'm sure she'll be interested in your tale. Henny thanked Johann, then entered the church, skirting the priest as she did so. I'm really scared! I'm really scared! Do not take my voice acting as me being fine. I'm very scared right now. St. Cecilia's looked much as it had during the daylight, with its vaulted ceiling and its stained glass windows. The darkness rendered it eerie, however, the rows of pews drowned in shadows. Henny glanced about, unsure of who she should be searching for. Then, with wide eyes, she stilled. A figure had been sitting upon one of the pews. Oh god, the music's gone. Oh god. A figure had been sitting upon one of the pews, though it rose to its feet upon hearing Henny's approach, and curtsied neatly. The figure was a diminutive one, so small, in fact, it made Henny start. Whoa! Oh, I love her design! Oh, she's so cool! Oh my god, every design in this game is great. And also, she is the vampire! She is the vampire! She is another vampire! Oh my god, her costume, her hair? I'm so obsessed with every single character design. Holy shit. The girl who stood before her, Henny could not think of her as a woman. This was evidently young, perhaps 9 or 10 years of... Oh, okay, child, okay. 9 or 10 years of age. If she was in double digits, it must have been only barely. Her skin was pale white, even in the flickering candlelight, and her hair was fair and wavy, all ringlets. The girl's eyes, meanwhile, were wide and staring, and her irises were a shocking hue that made Henny gasp. They were not blue or green or even dark grey. They were gold instead, and seemed to shine even brighter than the candlelight. The girl's eyes were even more sinister than Magdalena's. Are you Heide Marie?
Yes, that's right. Didn't Johann say as much? My name is Heide Marie, and you are Frau Henrika, yes?
Yes, that's me.
Then you must be the woman Johann and I have been waiting for. It is very good to meet you, although you don't seem to share my sentiments. Why do you shrink from me so, a grown woman like yourself? Don't tell me that you're afraid. Just look at who I am. You've nothing at all to be scared of. I don't bite. At least not that much.
If Heide Marie's eyes had not made it immediately apparent, then those teeth of hers, sharp as knives, served as the final nail in the proverbial coffin. I love her, by the way. She's awesome. She's so silly. I love this type of character. She seems so fun, but also, what the fuck? If Heide Marie's eyes... right, I just read that. Heide Marie was not an ordinary little girl. She was inhuman. Good God! You're just like her!
Like who?
Like the creature that captured my mistress! You're another monster!
A monster, am I? Is that what you think?
Heide Marie surveyed Henny, her smile unwavering. Holding one hand beneath her chin, the young girl tilted her head and said,
I suppose I should take offense, but that might not be entirely inaccurate. To a human like you, I probably do seem like a monster. I won't deny I'm capable of some rather wicked things, but Johann keeps me on a tight leash. He'll be the first to tattle on me should I step out of line to his superiors in the church, and then I'll be in trouble. If anybody knows how to strike fear into the hearts of the now immortal, it's these boring men in their clerical robes. Does that mean you really are a vampire? Naturally! How many ordinary humans do you know with eyes as bright as mine, or teeth as sharp? I was a human once upon a time, but that feels a very, very long time ago now. I doubt the vampire you've a quarrel with. Don't look so shocked. Johan told me all about it. I doubt they can hold a candle to me. I've been alive, if you care to call it that, for, I don't know. I've lost count. Mathematics has never been my strong suit, and it's been such a long time my mind fails me. I think it must have been at least 400 years at this point, though.
400! Also, by the way, is my, mic cutting out at all when I do the noises for this girl? Because normally when I do high sounds, it cuts off. Please let me know, because I won't know unless you tell me. It has been that long, yes. Ida Marie is prone to exaggerating, but she's being truthful on this score. She is an ancient vampire, one of the oldest, or so the church believes, in all of Europe. Older than Magdalena, because Magdalena said she's been around a century. She said 100. Ida Marie is saying at least 400. Fucking crazy.
Tut.
Is Emmy self-insert vampire? See? It cut out one time. Okay. Might be fine then. She went to a vet from Skyrim. I do not know who that character is. Wait, give me one sec. Babette Skyrim. Oh, that's another little vampire? Right, yeah. Ida Marie clipped her tongue.
Oh, it's not polite, you know, to talk about a lady's age in so cavalier a manner. If we didn't have a guest over, I'd bite you for your insolence, Johan.
And it isn't polite, strictly speaking, to threaten people that you disagree with. Not that you've ever cared about minding your manners.
I care enough not to terrify our poor guest out of her wits, though I'm afraid my attempts at magnanimity are not working. She's shaking like a leaf. Are you all right, Frau Henrika? You aren't about to faint, are you?
Imagine this vamp was a master, that'd be crazy. But if so, then she wouldn't be here at the church, I think. Because that one was screaming and trapped all alone. The one that's the mistress to Magdalena seems to, I'm scared, because they seem like they're much less, adjusted than this.
I know this must be an awful lot to swallow.
A lot to... Oh, right. A lot to swallow is right. This is impossible. If you really are a vampire, then what are you doing in church? And why are you acting so familiar with the father?
Oh, dearie me. Why could that be, I wonder? Why don't you let me elucidate, Fraulein? I may be a vampire, and an ancient vampire at that, but I'm no mindless monster who can think of nothing but her next meal. I've had my fill of screaming humans and flowing blood, so you can rest easy. I've tasted blood better than yours in the past, I'm certain of that.
I love her so much. I love her so much. She's so much fun. I love her. She's so silly. She's great. This is like my favorite type of character, and then we've got Magdalena as Serena. We've got a whole bunch of self-inserts. Oh, whoops.
I've drunk so much of it, in fact, I've just about gotten sick of it, which is for the best, I suppose. If I'd kept up my rampaging ways, the church would have seen to me like that.
Heidelberg made a gesture now against her neck, one which signified execution.
I've been working for the church for over a century, my servitude in exchange for my continued life, and I've curtailed my bloodlust accordingly. I sup only on those who I have permission to feed upon, namely the lucky members of the clergy who've been tasked with taking care of me.
What? Minor spelling mistake. I don't know what the fuck this is meant to mean.
I'll only bear these fangs of mine for Johann. Does that satisfy your concerns, Fraulein?
Is that why Johann's so pale? Oh, not because he's the vampire, but because she's drinking his fucking blood. She really is Emmy as bad as a vampire. I don't think she's that much like me. I think she's a little bit too uppity to quite be me, because I'm stupider than this, but I fucking love her. She's like my favorite type of characters to write for myself, I will say.
Well, oh please.
Henry snorted.
You're still afraid. What caused you to flee from a collared dog tied to a post.
Heide Marie is telling the truth. She has a lot of bark, but no bite. Well, Johann chuckled softly. Her bite is rather formidable, but I'm the only one who has to suffer its consequences. You will be perfectly safe. I understand that you might fear her, but I've worked with her for almost 4 years, and she's never once given me any trouble, beyond her tendency to answer back, that is.
There, you see, I'm good as gold. Why, my heart might even be as pure as a saint's.
I don't know if I'd go quite that far. Most saints don't have pass as bloody as yours.
But it is all in the past, Johann, well and truly. Almost 2 centuries in the past, in fact. I've helped the church hunt down many, many vile vampires, and I've saved scores of screaming virgins. I've done more than a lot of your silly Christian saints ever did, martyring themselves for no good reason.
Burma's likes to get off on it. They did say that she, it seems like she died when she was a child.
At least I actually get things done.
Why would the church send a vampire to fight other vampires, though? It makes no sense.
Doesn't it?
Heide Marie raised an eyebrow.
Do you know what they say, Fraulein, about fighting fire with fire? The same holds true here. We vampires are a formidable race with unparalleled speed and strength. Johann would stand no chance against a vampire, being a bumbling human of limited physical strength. But I can make short work of the wicked night walker who has kidnapped your mistress. Of that, I promise you.
Would you really be able to do that?
It's well within my abilities. My past record ought to speak for itself.
When it comes to hunting vampires, Heide Marie is second to none. If you wish to rescue your mistress, then we must rely upon her. I know you might find her disagreeable, but she's more trustworthy than she appears. She really has been an indispensable ally to me.
Why, Johann, you flatter me! If you continue to be so complimentary, I may have to reward you in turn. Would you like me to bite you just a little? I've heard some people find it therapeutic.
Oh, do behave yourself. What happened to trying to make our guests feel welcome? Johann tutted, then turned back to Henny. She's crazy! I love her! I love her so much! I adore her. I love this little creature. So, what do you think? Will you consent to letting Heide Marie help you?
Well, You'll say yes if you really love your mistress, no matter how many misgivings you might have. You can spurn me if you wish, you wouldn't be the only one, but you'll be only hurting yourself in the long run. You shouldn't cut your nose off to spite your face, Fraulein, even if it is rather lumpy. You need me more than I need you.
I mean... Henny stood still for several moments, dithering, her heart hammering like a war drum within her breast. She hadn't imagined that Johann's acquaintance might be another vampire, one who seemed even more fearsome than Magdalena. Her and Gumi would get Gumi would not get along with her. You severely misunderstand the type of silly creature that Gumi is. She would not like this girl. Well, more or less accurately, I'm sure Gumi could make fun of her, but this girl would not like Gumi at all. It was all a lot to take in. She was still reeling, hurt by Johann's lack of transparency, stung by Heide Marie's impish words, and, yes, afraid to be in such close proximity of yet another godless creature. Up until 2 weeks prior, Henny had not known vampires existed. Now she had learned to fear them. Looking at Heide Marie made Henny's blood run cold, but so too did the memory of what Magdalena had done to those bandits. It was impossible that a human could contend with such strength, but Heide Marie was not a human. As a fellow vampire, perhaps she could overwhelm Magdalena. It was worth a try, at least. Anything was, for Maike's sake. All right. I'm prepared to trust you, Heide Marie, despite my misgivings. I will leave my mistress's safety in your hands.
And what capable hands I have! So fair and slender like 2 lovely lilies.
Oh, I love her so much! I adore her!
Thank you for your vote of confidence, Fraulein. You're most kind.
Heide Marie took her ornate skirts in both hands, then dropped a curtsy.
I would be more than happy to assist you with your little problem. It's been a while since I've went on a hunt and I've been fitfully bored. Before that, however, I would propose a plan. What sort of plan? Will you not go rescue Meike? Of course, of course. But tonight would be a poor time for it. My services haven't been required in quite some time, and I've been spending most of my time sleeping to conserve my energy. I need a few days to rejuvenate. And no small amount of blood. Heidemarie looked to Johann, then grinned unpleasantly, as a gargoyle might. I hope you're prepared. It would be most unfortunate for all of us if you were to collapse upon me. You're concerned about me? How kind of you. That makes quite the change from usual. You needn't worry about my resilience, however. I will be quite all right. That's what I like to hear. You religious men might be boring, but at least you're strong. You're no strangers to suffering, I'll grant you that. The Lord does send us these trials to test us. Johann smiled wryly, while Heidemarie scoffed. Yes, but it wouldn't be your precious Lord who's going to make a meal out of your neck, you dingbat. You can be so cruel sometimes. I used to be crueler. I'm afraid I've lost my edge spending so much time with you. You're a terrible influence. Now, we shall pursue this wicked vampire in 1 week's time, upon the night of the full moon. My powers should then be at their peak. None should be able to stop me. They do say that pride comes before a fall, you know. I said that all wrong. They do say that pride comes before a fall, you know. To lesser mortals, perhaps, but not to me. Since when have I ever failed in my duties? I suppose you have a point there. I always do. Smiling smugly in the manner of all young children who had successfully managed to outwit an adult, Heidemarie looked back to Henny, one hand resting upon her hip. I shall bid you auf Wiedersehen for the present, Fraulein. The hour is advanced, and while we vampires starve in the dark, you humans need your rest. Do not be a stranger, though, I beg of you. I will require your services when the appointed day comes, so you can guide me into the woods, to the abode of this vampire. Do you need me to stick around, then? Isn't that what I just said? Do try to listen. We'll never get anywhere if I'm obliged to continuously repeat myself. Worry not, please. I'm sure you must be nervous, wandering into the woods so late at night, but you will be quite safe. I'll be with you too, to ensure that Heidemarie does not get up to any mischief. As if I would! You wound me, Johann! Heidemarie pouted, but it seemed put on, too theatrical to be heartfelt. Did Heidemarie even have a heart in her possession, tucked away inside her ribcage, which continued to beat? Henny wouldn't have been surprised if the ravages of time had turned it to dust. This vampire's abode will most likely be concealed from prying eyes with some sort of glamour. If you're able to bring me to the rough location, however, I should be able to see past all her trifling enchantments. I love her. She's such a Himedara. Right? I love Himedara characters like this so much. And her design is so cute, and her outfit is so cool. I adore her. This silly little vampire will be in for quite the rude awakening indeed. Oh, I can't wait to see the look of surprise on her face until I slice it off her skull. This is going to be so much fun! Oh my god, I adore her! New favorite character, new favorite character. Unlocked. Henny's nerves were as disorderly as the cargo hold of a mercantile ship during a storm as she crept through the Augsburg streets, blanketed by the inky darkness. The sounds of her footsteps on the cobblestone seemed to echo through the dark night which she navigated. Henny could hear the faint sound of revelries in the distance as swathes of drunken men consorted in the alehouses, but Henny kept her distance. She had no desire to speak to anybody at the present, particularly not leery, overly talkative sots. Christ! Particularly not leery, overly talkative sots soused with beer and cider. Henny thought it inappropriate. Jesus Christ! maybe voice acting as Heidemarie took everything out of me. Henny thought it inappropriate that public houses should be open during Sundays at all, when it was supposed to be a day of rest. But she had little room to judge. She, too, had spent her Sunday running errands, but said errands had been of a clerical nature. She had spent the midnight hours in a church consorting with a priest. What could be more respectable than that? There was Heidemarie to consider, too, Henny supposed, but she wasn't sure what to think about her.
So we're cosplaying Lena and Heidi, right? Absolutely. Oh my god, look at her outfit. She's such great design. I love the costume designs for this game. I really wish I could. I need to find all the concept art for it. Her hair has such a gorgeous shape as well. The way it all curls around her makes her head so round with those little like accent parts at the bottom. I love her. Heidi Marie was a strange, unnerving creature, one whose existence seemed to spit in the face of God himself. Oh, her eyes really are gold. They're so pretty. They're like the same color as her hair. She's gorgeous. Such a great design. Henny could recall with startling clarity the stark paleness of Heidi Marie's skin and her unnerving irises. Gold, just like fields of wheat, her expensive jewelry. I am realizing though, Serena, actually, as much as I'd love to cosplay these two vampires with you, I think it would be slightly weird when she's so specifically built to be a petite and built like a little child, and then I'd show up giant fucking boobs in her chest. Henny could recall with startling clarity the stark paleness of Heidi Marie's skin and her unnerving irises. Gold, just like fields of wheat, her expensive jewelry. Though Heidi Marie was smaller than Magdalena, and very clearly younger, they must have been cut from the same cloth. Two alike monsters with unalike professions. Magdalena kidnapped ladies for sport and drained them of their blood. Hey! 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 No! Magdalena very clearly said she does not do anything like that. She kidnaps men who fuck with her and piss her off, and then drains them because they're evil. And she needs to eat. She does not fuck with ladies, and she does not hurt anyone. We can fix her! You know, I didn't think about that. Yeah! I'm gonna end up looking like one of the lollies from Dragon Maid. Heidi Marie, meanwhile, seemed determined to help them. Henny wasn't sure whether she could trust Heidi Marie. Her knowing smile had been disconcerting, but she did trust Johann. He appeared to be every inch the gentleman Agnes had told her, even-tempered and eager to help. If he could keep Heidi Marie in hand, then perhaps they really would be able to find and rescue Meike. That was what Henny wanted to believe. She did not like to think that her efforts to help Meike were all in vain, nor that she was too late. Henny knew that she could not discount the possibility. It had been over a fortnight since Meike had been taken a prisoner, but neither did she want to dwell upon it. She had allies now, though she had found them in an unlikely place, and things soon would be set into motion. With Heidi Marie and Johann's help, she would venture forth into the woods, and she would find Magdalena's home once more. There, they would confront the wicked vampire who had imprisoned Meike, and they would save her. Like a fairy tale, everything would end happily ever after. Though the fairy tales Henny's mother had told her as a child had rarely ended like that. The fairy tales imported from France, such as Cinderella, had ended cheerfully enough, with goodness reigning triumphal and royal weddings, but the honey-spun tales which originated in German soil were less of a cheerful bent. Those tales had been full of dead or dying children, basins full of body parts, and heads lopped off. Henny shivered as the cold wind dipped her fingers. No, she would not think of that. Meike wasn't dead. She couldn't be dead. If she lost faith in Meike now, she would be no better than Walter. He had given up on his fiancée earlier than most rakes might have, but Henny would not. She had known Meike since they had been children, and she believed, by God how earnestly she wanted to believe, that Meike still lived. Meike might have appeared frail, but she was not the sort to simply give in. She had more panache than her pale complexion would have credited. That was why Meike and her mother had always been at loggerheads. Meike and her mother had always been at loggerheads. Lady Von Essen did not know what to do with her child, who had been so infuriatingly willful. Lady Von Essen had thought that Meike's stubbornness once was a defect, but Henny had always thought otherwise. Henny loved Meike for her fieriness. She would always accept her mistress, though her parents, and later her fiancé, had not. That was why she meant to try so hard for Meike's sake. She would do anything to ensure her mistress's safety, even lacerate her soles upon a sea of broken glass. It was not glass, fortunately, which Henny had to navigate, but cobblestones, and they were far less precarious. Henny stole away to Walter Gerhardt's house, which looked larger and more imposing than ever in the shadows. She then crept about to the back door, where the servants entered and exited. Unseen by all save the watchful moon, Henny slid her ill-gotten key into the lock and twisted it. The door soon gave away, swinging open, and Henny stepped inside. She locked the door behind her, stashed the keys away in her pocket, and removed her shoes, lining them up alongside those of her fellow maids. Quiet as an assassin, she crept through Walter's house. Please don't get in trouble now, Queen, please don't! She navigated the kitchens and the servants' corridors until she came to the thin ribbon of oaken steps which led her to her own quarters. During her nighttime wanderings, Henny met with no opposition. Whew! It was past midnight and Walter's household was at rest. The magic of sleep infused into its very eaves. Even Gertrude, who was alert during the day, would now have been lying in her private quarters in her nightgown, dreaming of whatever it was housekeepers dreamt of, barking orders and making the scullery maids cry, most likely. Henny knew that Gertrude would be less than impressed when she discovered a set of her keys had gone missing. Henny would have to finagle some way of returning them unnoticed when the sun rose. But that could wait for later. Henny had more pressing concerns weighing upon her. She crept across the hallway, praying for the wooden floorboards not to creak or to give her away. She did not think Gertrude would take kindly upon knowing she had been skulking about at night, or Walter for that matter. Henny could hear Walter's officious tones now as he lounged at his escritoire, the master of all he surveyed. I take you into my home, and this is how you repay me. Sneaking out at odd hours like a common thief and stealing from Gertrude as you please. Have you no shame? I have tried to be patient with you, Frau Henrika, but this is the final straw. I want you gone from my house as soon as possible before you have a chance to infect any of my other maids with your lousy conduct. Yes, Henny thought. That sounded about right, though something was missing from her phantasmal summoning of Walter Gerhardt. She hadn't peppered his speech with nearly enough Latin. So real, queen. Smiling to herself, Henny let herself into her room and sank upon her bed with a sigh of relief. She had returned from her midnight rendezvous in one piece, and Walter Gerhardt's household was none the wiser. The other maids were all abed in their nightgowns, fast asleep. Henny, her mind was turned over on one side, her copper-coloured hair spilled across her pillow, while Agnes was snuffling softly like a field mouse, her fingers curled at her side. Henny smiled at Agnes fondly, appreciative of all her aid. Then she prepared herself for bed. Henny stripped off her clothes, accompanied by the sound of 6 girls all snoring, and changed into her nightgown. Oh, she made it! Oh my god, she made it through the whole thing safe. Oh, thank fucking god, Jesus Christ. Oh my god, I was so worried. Newly dressed, Henny slid beneath her covers. They were cold and icy against her bared arms and legs, and she shivered. Henny turned, hoping to sleep, all well fearing it was impossible, when... I was really scared that it was going to be Hermione that was going to wake up instead.
Henny?
A voice called to Henny in the dark, soft and girlish, only barely audible above the sound of snoring. It was Agnes. Henny had thought her asleep, but she must have been more cunning than Henny had given her credit for. That, or her changing roused the girl from her uneasy slumber.
Oh, Agnes!
Oh, I said you didn't have to stay up for me.
I know you did, and I did try to sleep, really I did. But I couldn't. You took such a long time, I was afraid you wouldn't come back. The streets of Augsburg are so twisty and turny. It's even worse in the dark. It gets scary out there when it's so late. I knew you'd be safe with Johann, but on your own...
Agnes bit her lower lip.
I'm glad you didn't get into any trouble. You didn't get into any trouble, did you?
No, I didn't. As you can see, I'm quite all right. I kept my head down, my feet moving, and I didn't stop to talk to any strange men, other than Father Dvorak at the church.
Do you suppose he counts? He is quite unusual for a priest, yes, but I'm very fond of him.
When you realize it's only been 3 hours, yeah. Unfortunately, even though it's only been 3 hours, I might have to stop kind of soon. My voice is very tired, and also... hang on, I'm stretching my back. And I'm quite tired. And I want to make sure we save, like, because it seems like after this, like, shit's gonna hit the fan. And they're gonna go and chase down Magdalena. So I probably want to save that for next week so that we can get through all of that in one go. Rather than the other option. Jesus Christ, I cannot speak. Rather than the other option, which would be cutting it off halfway through the action. Which you don't want. Me too. I think you might be onto something there.
So, what did he say? Did he agree to help you find your mistress?
Henny nodded. He said it would be possible, but first he asked me to wait a few days. He said we'd have better luck rescuing Meike, that is to say, my lady, when the moon is full. Can't say why exactly. I love that she's not telling her. I mean, fair enough, I wouldn't either, especially if she likes, if Agnes likes the priest so much. Telling her now, oh yeah, he actually has this evil fucking vampire child who's just been biting him and like kills people for fun. I think that might fuck her up a little bit. I don't think she's ready to hear that. I can't say why exactly, but he seemed to know what he was talking about.
Father Dvorak always does. He knew just what to say to my mother when she was at her worst too. She was in such a bad way, I thought she'd never get better, but Father Dvorak proved me wrong. He really can do the impossible, just you see. I'm sure he'll be able to rescue Lady Meike.
I'm sure he will. He is a professional when it comes to all these supernatural goings-ons, or so it seems. So I'll leave it all up to him, and his assistant, I suppose.
Oh yes, his assistant. You mentioned her earlier. What was she like?
Great question, Queen. It's hard to describe her. I suppose she was very, unusual? Unusual? She wasn't all I expected. I think I can trust her, though.
I'm glad to hear it.
She asked me to guide her and Father Dvorak into the woods, actually, to help them locate Meike.
So you're going to go back into the forest after everything that happened?
I have to, if I want to rescue Meike. I don't have much of a choice.
I suppose so, but aren't you nervous? I would be ever so. I don't know if I'd ever be able to bear it.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Henny said lightly, though in truth she didn't feel fine. She had many unpleasant memories attached to that forest, memories she would rather forget. It had been in those woods that Lord and Lady von Essen had lost their lives. My assistant is so normal, copy pasta. Yeah. Henny could still recall Lord von Essen's rasping, dying breaths, Lady von Essen's screams. There had been the flash of a blade, and then...
I won't be alone. I'll be with Father Dvorak. He promised to protect me. Father Dvorak can do anything, remember? Isn't that what you said?
He's a miracle worker.
I suppose so, yes. I know what magic he's capable of, but... Oh, Henny! Please look after yourself. I'd hate for you to get hurt after what you've been through. I think you've suffered enough.
Don't worry, Agnes. It would take more than a few bandits to put the fear of God into me. Or a few vampires, for that matter. They can't scare me. Oh, well, they can. Henny corrected herself, seeing the doubt in Agnes's eyes. But I won't let them get to me. Meike endured a lot for my sake, and I, as her maid, want to do the same for her.
I'd do anything to see her again. You'd really be willing to go that far?
Of course I would. Meike is the most important person in the world to me. Her happiness is my happiness. The thought of facing that infernal vampire is scary, but it's less scary than the thought of never seeing her again. I just want to know that she's alright. There's nothing in this world I want more than that. And there's nothing I won't endure for her sake. Okay, I'm gonna pause here. I think I'm gonna have to wrap up there for the day. Oh my gosh. Because I am very, very light. That's been a lot of voice acting because these streams, like even more so than the Date with Death ones, these streams playing this game require like a triple the amount of voice acting and focus from me, because I'm doing so many voices and doing so many of them so much more dramatically and seriously rather than sitting and texting my baby girl or something. I absolutely fucking love this game, by the way, if that wasn't clear. But they take a lot, so these ones are generally going to be shorter. But also, yeah, find out next time on Emmy Block Z, on Emirat Z. But also, like I said, I don't want to end up cutting this off in the middle of everything going on, because I'm like too tired or something like that, so I'd rather cut it here while we have the chance. And then next time we can see what the fuck is gonna go down. I'm so scared. I'm so scared, dude. I'm so scared that they're gonna fucking kill Magdalena. If this turns out to be doomed like that, I will cry. I will cry live on stream. And I will... I was gonna say something, but I didn't want to say it. Please don't kill her. Please don't kill my baby girl. Please don't kill my wife. I want her to live. I want them to live together. But I'm really curious how this is gonna go. This game is so incredible. Literally every single time I think I've got a general grasp on it, they pull out another thing. It's so fucking fascinating. It's okay, we get 6 more gay for next week. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a lot of voice acting to do, and you voiced them so well. It's like this new audiobook. I'm glad. I'm really happy to hear that. I want to make sure I'm giving them all my all, because this game is like written so incredibly, you know? It's like I was saying, it feels like it's written in a way that even if this feels like it'd literally be some gothic novel that I'd pick up somewhere and I'd read entirely on its own with barely an illustration to it. And yet then they also give you these gorgeous fucking illustrations. So I want to do it justice by giving it like all of my voice acting power that I can. Because the writing is so beautiful. It deserves to be voice acted to the full, you know? Write your will again. Yeah, I will write my will live on stream with chat. I swear to God. But instead of that, for now, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go eat something, and I'm gonna go. Well, actually, yeah, I'm gonna go for the rest of the week until Saturday, guys. Will you be able to survive without me? Will you miss me? Yeah, cause I've got a lot of offline things I need to do for the rest of this week. That's why, like I mentioned, my schedule is the way it is. I've got things to record so that I can get covers done. I've got things to record for other people. I've got things to draw for other people, and I've got comms and stuff and things to work on that I can't work on stream. So I'm gonna do all of that. I'm still in the grind set. I gotta do a lot of offline grinding this week. So tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and Sunday you will not see me. But after I disappear for most of the week, I will be back again on Saturday so that we can catch up with more MS Paint stuff again. Because I like catching up with you guys at the end of the weekend with MS Paint, no matter what. You know, it's really fun for me. It's nice and chill, and I can chat a billion while I'm doing MS Paint stuff as well. Generally, we can just like yap and be silly, and watch something silly and cute get done. So we'll do that on Saturday. That will be the next time I see you. I'm very sorry.
I don't know how ever you will survive without me. You guys are gonna have to go 4 whole days without listening to me. Yep, I don't know how you're gonna live.
But for real, don't miss me too much, but miss me just enough that you're excited to see me on Saturday again. Okay. I find some random really long videos background noise and said, yeah, find a video that lasts you 4 days and then you'll have me as background noise again on Saturday. But yeah, yeah, this is ending a lot earlier than my normal ones do, but that's okay. I will take the time to go and eat and go do lots of stuff. And make sure the rest of you guys have a good day too. If your day is about to end, then I got you me, and if it's just getting started, have a very lucky day. Thank you for hanging out with me for another round of this Vampire Yuri game. I love it so fucking much. Bye, 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 bye. Bye, LJ. Bye, Serena. Bye, Crimson. Bye, I don't know who else is still here, actually. But bye-bye, anyone who's still here and looking. Bye, 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 bye. Bye-bye. I'll see you on Saturday. Wish me luck with all my offline work.